I love Alex Jones. He's probably one of my favorite people in the world, and it's not because like his conspiracies and shit. It's just he's a character. Dude.
Oh,
so
he's
fucking
always
funny.
been entertaining.
He's so funny.
I went down to Austin in like '08, let's say, to see a documentary. He was there. It was at Alamo Draft House. Me and some friends went down. So this was high time. We were all about Ron Paul. Paul '08. Not 2012, Ron Paul 08.
Okay,
when it mattered.
Oh, you were,
cool.
you were like the original, like the OGs.
Yeah. And we went down to
Ron Paul OGs.
We went down to the Alamo Draft House in Austin. And I think it was the documentary, The Obama Deception.
Yeah.
Barack Obama. Like,
where's the birth certificate?
And we got to talk. Like, he did like a meet and greet afterwards. Just went and talked to him. I was like, so I've.
How much of it's real? How much of it's fake?
Oh, I don't know. It's highly entertaining.
Okay.
You're told what's going on, and then we need fucking crazy people like Alex Jones to be like, this is why it really happened.
Yeah.
Or these are what we presume happened behind the scenes of, maybe these coincidences. Here's these coincidences, maybe, and here's my thesis, my conspiracy as to like why these things happen. I'm just like, that's fun.
When he started talking about the
do
universe
it.
being run by wizards, that's when I lost. I got lost.
Whoa!
I was
Don't
like-
you can't
I was
fucking
like,
drop
what?
that off there.
It's hyperbole.
That's
It just-
possible.
I mean, anything's possible.
I prefer wizards, bro. If magic was real,
What would you do if you had
Like
abilities
powers?
to
Like
do-
abilities?
No, not powers. That's so stupid. Just abilities to do something like I guess you would quote magic.
magic, I'd just been more of a thief than I was as a child. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
just breaking.
That's probably what I would do.
Yeah.
Just be robbing
Just take
banks and
advantage.
shit. I wouldn't do anything good with it. I probably would do zero positive stuff if I had the ability.
Yeah, I'm gonna be an asshole. I'd kill people. It's not untrue.
We've done that in the army. So.
I mean, yeah, but that was like because someone told me. This is just choice.
Oh, you do it by choice now.
This is choice. Like just step on me a little
I would
bit.
immediately cast an invisibility spell and just work out all the voyeuristic, pervy thoughts that we had as teenagers. Just like, I'm going to watch people in their element. I'm going to watch chicks shower. I'm going to get that out of my system. And once that gets boring, I'm just going to watch what people do by themselves. And there's probably a lot of boring. There's probably plenty of boring, like, oh, they're watching TV. They're watching. When you think like you're invisible, do you also have ghost powers where you can walk through walls, or are you're just invisible? Light can't touch you, and you still have to operate with physics. Like if you're invisible,
I think you'd have
you
to
can look
operate
through a
with physics.
window, but that window has to be, you can't get through that wall. So I think a lot of people presume maybe ghost abilities. It's like, I'll be invisible and I could just walk through walls. But I'm like, no, if you're invisible, you can still get hit with shit. Yeah. You can still, physical objects still block
Well, it's like the
your way.
Hollow Man rules. Like, he was still there. Like,
Yeah.
they would just cover him in paint. Or
Yeah, you can wear sunglasses. Yeah, you could. Yeah. Oh, CGI budget's not as good. Cover him in shit. He's got clothes and glasses, and he's got gauze on his face for some reason.
Kevin Bacon, he showed that side though, being invisible. Like he sucked a titty.
And I remember.
Oh yeah, he did.
Morning radio. They had one of the best lines. It's like, yeah, you see that Hollow Man movie? Yeah, you saw that. Yeah, we did the thing where he got invisible, and then I think it was I think it was The Edge. Long live 94.5 The Edge. That's when it was good. And then this one lady's like, yeah, 6 inches of Kevin Bacon. And luckily I caught that on the way to school. That was fucking hilarious. Because you saw his dick.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
You do
he's
see
going
his
invisible,
dick.
but he's sitting there naked on the thing. And that
Yeah.
guy's cool. Fucking Tremors.
Did you watch the new Guardians of the Galaxy, like little thing where they kidnapped Kevin Bacon?
Oh, no.
The Christmas special?
No, I
Yeah.
haven't watched that.
You gotta check that
I forgot there's something Disney Marvel that I probably do want to watch.
Yeah, actually. I mean,
I
Kevin
haven't
Bacon.
watched a show since Loki because I'm just like, to me, it's more fatigue. It's Marvel fatigue with me, just because I'm like, I don't care. And also the quality is just
diminishing.
Yeah, especially with the not Hawkeye. Hawkeye was just boring. Falcon and Winter Soldier, where it was just like, I love watching these YouTube videos that just fucking demolish, the latest Marvel things. And I'm like, I agree with like a lot they say. And I'm just like, yeah, but I don't care that much to make a career out of it and make YouTube videos about it. But in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, how is that? Well, that one girl's literally a fucking terrorist and killing innocent people. And they're just kind of like, well, they're trying to, like, they're justifying her death and destruction. Like, she's misunderstood.
Hey, man, that's like nowadays
Like,
with
she's
serial
murdering
killers.
innocent people.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, serial killers
Yeah, they
like
do the
Jeffrey
same
Dahmer fans and all that shit's getting back up. Like, oh, he could be, technically taken the wrong way.
That's what's scary about humanity is the most well-meaning people anyone can justify anything.
Exactly.
And it's just like, oh, well, my morals aren't your morals. And it's just like, well, then we're going to have a hard time living in a society.
Yeah, but you're fucking
together.
chihuahuas out in the open. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I really don't think this is the thing you should be doing.
Or eating them.
Yeah, eating them
There's not
afterwards,
much meat on them bones.
I mean, so they're snacks.
They're tapas.
Yeah. But it's a power play when you fuck a chihuahua because, like, you know they can't do anything really.
Oh, yeah. It's like, no one's impressed.
No one's impressed.
Fuck something with the fighting chance.
Oh, man. What if dogs do go to heaven, though? Because then you have to explain yourself at the end.
like why you put it down?
Like, listen, bro. Like, I had an ego back then, but now that we're all spirits, like, I'm cool.
I can't touch you.
Yeah, you're
Come
good
on,
now, bro.
I can't fuck you, but I can't pet you. Is that okay? Okay.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
All right, back to dog heaven, I guess. All right.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, bro. Like, fucking dogs, man. My bad.
10 minutes in, this is already off the rails.
Yeah,
this is fun.
Well, we're recording, but we
Welcome,
haven't
by the
actually
way.
started. I'm waiting for you to finish your cigarette.
Oh,
You're
okay.
good. You're just
Oh, really?
talking.
This is just talk?
We're just talking.
Oh, man. Well, fuck. I've been trying.
Helping out the primo content.
Yeah, Brown. You're going to have to, like, edit.
I've already
edit.
said 3 clippable things. All right.
Exactly. Fuck. Hey, Brian. How you
This is for
been?
the Patreon.
Yeah, there you go.
What's your last name again?
Breckinridge.
See, I said it right.
Breckinridge. Okay.
It's a solid last name.
I'm trying to make it work for me with the Breckening
You
Breckening.
logo. Well, that's
like
like my
that.
logo thing, and that's the name of my podcast. And it's just because I like metal bands, and that's just like me playing into that kind of genre of. And like I sketched out like my logo. It's readable. It's not like full blown death metal band logo, unreadable shit. I'd like to do a version of that one day, but it's just more like something you'd like scrawl into like a desk in junior high or like a textbook. It's readable and it's very like basic, but I like it. I worked on it a little bit. My friend digitized it.
You just posted like 2 new episodes, right? It's been about a year, but you just posted 2 new ones.
Oh,
I
I've
think it was.
been racking up the interviews, and I just posted one like today, like when I got here. Buddy Matt is in a couple of underground, like extreme, like metal, hardcore punk bands. I've seen him, known him for a few years, and he loves comedy. So we talked about like we just went back and forth talking about music and comedy, and
That
like
seems like they go hand in hand a lot.
Heavy metal and comedy?
Oh, absolutely.
it can. I like when I meet someone we like a lot of these just underground bands that just that they go these bands that go on tour and they're happy to play for 50 people. But if I can meet someone that plays that type of music, likes that shit, and also loves stand up, and I'm like, that's the reason I interviewed him because he's just a fan of comedy. I'm not sure if he's ever seen me do comedy, so that's.
That kind of hurts in 2 different ways.
But this is what sucks with knowing so many
funny.
musicians is I know way too many. I know my demographic, but my demographic is bartenders and musicians who are also bartenders or work in the service industry. So they play shows, they practice, and they have to work, which means they can never come see me do comedy.
Unless you're doing it at the same place at the same time.
I'm glad
Or
you're-
if I bite the fucking unholy bullet of doing comedy but with bands,
I'm
which
glad your
rarely
demographic
works.
bar is so low, though.
Does
That you're
it?
just like
But
comics and bartenders.
But like what I told him is like I want to be like my overall goal is to like be like a Brian Posehn type, but skews younger and more specific. Like he plays to the people that like Lamb of God and Iron Maiden and maybe Slipknot. I'm just like I want to play for the guys that like Converge and Botch and these well-known very respectable bands. But they're also like they're not funny bands. Like there's some metal bands that have like a slightly bit of humor. Like maybe Slipknot a little bit. Iron Maiden. There's I like some serious fucking extreme metal bands. Hopefully, some of their crowd also likes to laugh.
Why don't you perform a sacrifice first, then do some comedy? And you'll be just fine. Like, I'm going to sacrifice this baby goat and then tell some jokes.
That'd require code violations.
Nah,
previous
not at
approval.
metal shows. Metal shows don't no snitches there.
Especially if like you're seeing them in a garage.
No snitches, they'll be fine.
Dude, I went to a thrash metal band show. It was like in a fucking church, like an abandoned church one time.
An abandoned church, not a Unitarian church. That's
Yeah.
like an active venue for bands like that.
It was like down by Fort Hood or Temple or something like that, and it was just random middle of nowhere. It was Skies Beyond Oblivion back then, but now it's they're what are they called, Wild Speaker. No.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
My buddy Matt he plays drums for that band.
You're fucking kidding me.
Wild Speaker.
Yeah,
Dude,
Wild
I
Speaker.
literally just
Nelson
posted
Favela
about
is my best friend from childhood.
I know Matt, their drummer, and I met Natalie, their singer,
Singer,
because she lives in Arlington. I met her when I worked at Freebirds. Her boyfriend at the time was also in the band. And I want to at some point get her on the podcast because then I'll cop to. We're buds now, but man, I was working at Freebirds. I was a shift manager, and I hated my life, and I hated all of my my underlings because they were just a bunch of fucking 19, 20-year-old pothead burnouts.
Freebirds is the burrito place,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And she's really vegan, so she came in and got got plenty of vegan options, and they were talking about being in a band, and I made an okay to really bad first impression because I was like, oh cool, y'all pointing out band shirts and everything. You could wear a band shirt while working at Freebirds, under your apron, and I was kind of just like a little bit of a dick, but also I hated working there. I only worked there so I could have the word manager on my resume.
Nice.
But then
Fair enough.
But then I went and saw them. I've seen them multiple times. They broke up. He's no longer in the band. But I've seen Natalie at shows. I've seen her 3 times in the past 2 months at shows. So we're fine now. But I'm just I made a bad first impression just because I was like, and I've copped up to that. But I don't want to get that on the record.
I'm glad they're
But I
keeping
love
heavy
Wild
metal
Speaker.
alive. Glad somebody's out there doing it.
Oh yeah.
And
it's
Will
kinda
Nelson's
fallen off the
the
rails.
guitar player has been with them for years.
Yeah,
now.
I want to say I've met him before.
Long hair, Mexican with glasses,
Yeah.
short,
Yeah,
skinny
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, that's my fucking.
I was talking to
boy.
Matt. I was like, if anyone else, I definitely want to get Natalie on the podcast. And he was just like, I think the other guys in Wild Speaker, they just want to be in the background.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah,
oh, no, that's
introverts.
fine. Yeah, I don't want to force anybody to.
I just love their Magic the Gathering theme music. It's fucking great.
Oh, dude, I got one of their shirts, too. And,
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I think I got one of their first album, their first CD, they gave out, because me and Nelson, once again, he's a very big introvert, so we talk once a year and we're great.
Oh, that's right. I think the first time we really spoke, at Lola's, you
Yeah.
brought up Wild Speaker.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. I like those guys.
We forget conversations really quick. I'm telling you, talked about that. Sorry.
I go over a lot. When
Y'all talk, man.
Oh,
Get it
when
out.
I've had an energy drink, I can cover a lot.
No, we're
in a
just
little
best
bit of
friends
time.
now. Are we just become best friends?
I don't know.
We went to fucking karate in the garage.
Let's reassess at the end of the podcast. Who
Yeah.
knows
Oh,
where
yeah.
we'll be.
See whose opinions match or differ. Anyway, haven't you met a bunch? We talked about that last time. You had a bunch of celebrity.
Oh man, I've met so many fucking celebrities. I couldn't even name them all.
Fucking music.
I went through after I watched the podcast, I was like, oh, but I forgot a few. I was like, I've also met this person. Yeah, I was-
Oh no, go ahead. Who else?
let's see. I mentioned Ozzy and Marilyn. Mentioned.
But these aren't just meeting
Joey
and
from
greetings.
Slipknot.
You
Call
actually,
him Brian.
Yeah.
Well, my
His name's Brian.
Well, like I said before, my family were big metalheads and they were partiers, and so we partied with a lot of fucking bands. But I didn't know. I was young. I didn't know shit.
Oh,
I just
really?
knew that this guy had long hair and a lot of tattoos, and we don't know who he is.
He might be his dad.
And no, I know who my dad is, Shawn. Not as you. The thing is it was weird because when we grew older, me and my cousin really started talking about it, and we were like, you know what? I wonder, because that guy looks so familiar. Watching MTV or something.
Yeah.
I'd be like, that guy looks fucking familiar. They would talk to my mom or her mom or whatever, and I'd be like, oh yeah, we used to party with that guy. Or oh yeah, that guy used to come over, and then whatever.
Wow. Is this DFW based or
Worldwide.
Oh no, I'm just saying where you grew up. Was this
Oh yeah, I grew up all over DFW. Man,
Oh, okay.
I didn't even stay in a school for longer than a year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we were constantly moving, constantly
okay.
getting evicted, constantly getting kicked out, constantly falling behind on rent. You fucking name it. And then
But if there was an equation on the board that was super hard, he would solve it. Come on,
No.
Good Will Hunting.
No, I would
come
not.
on, come on.
no, I would not. I would be the guy to be in the background trying not to say anything because I know how stupid I'm going to look if I go up there. Plus, I probably had an erection too, because it was back in the day where you used to try to hide your erections and you had to hide it in your waistband or something.
Oh yeah. Oh my.
Yeah.
I have a theory that we had a decent principal 6th and 7th grade, and then 8th grade we had a new principal, and he came in, and his rule. So I have a theory that he was secretly a pedophile.
How do you know? I gotta hear this.
Because I need to go back and look him up and just see if there's any allegations that ever came. So, first year at our school, 8th grade. 8th grade. You remember 8th grade? Your body is going through all the time. So his rule, no uniforms. I think the next year or two they went to uniforms, but ours, nothing for the girls. For the guys though, every guy had a tuck in their shirt. And maybe wear a belt, maybe not. Would have been better with the belt. If you're going to tuck in your shirt, a belt,
Looks
helps
better,
the look.
looks.
Yeah. But he made every boy, every boy tuck in their shirt. And I was like, and I thought of this like years later, maybe sometime in high school. I was just like, it's like, why the fuck? Like, first of all, we can't hide our guns and knives if we have our shirts tucked in because, we're that hardcore in 8th grade. But I was like, am I just...
Well,
It's
actually,
tucking your
depending on
shirt
what school
in,
you went to.
like,
it's not the most
is that
well-founded
the-
theory, but I'm like, was he trying to look at our boners? Like, was he trying to like
Always have access to the crotch.
see our pitch tents? Because the oversized T-shirts are hiding those. Maybe
It's adding up.
Yeah, because at first I was like, "What the fuck does that have to do with anything?"
I
But
really
now
thought you were
I'm
talking about the
starting
shirt
to
maybe
see it.
touching your
Okay.
I
dicks
mean,
as
thank
kids.
God,
I'm like-
you had we had books that we could carry around. You could cover the book. Which is a great joke from Roseanne. DJ's having boners, and they think she's like messing up at school, but then Dan talks to DJ. And it was just like, Roseanne, I fixed it, and then turns out he's like correct in the way he approached it. And he's just like, I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy, Dan. He goes, if I was more happy, I'd need a book.
Oh,
Great line. Roseanne's such a good show.
I really assumed this guy was like going and enforcing the shirt tuck-in law and was like jamming his hand down
see?
your pants and shit.
Well,
like
behind closed doors, who knows?
exactly.
I was wearing a sweater one time, and they were telling me to tuck in my shirt. I'm like, this is a sweater.
Like that's gonna be awkward as fuck.
Like that's the word.
That's
like
weird.
I know nothing about fashion in 8th grade, but I know you don't tuck in a fucking sweater because
Yeah.
that's the
don't
level
tuck
of
your
jackets.
cardigans,
You're not
like-
gonna tuck that shit in.
Yeah.
So I was just like, no, it's a sweater. I'm not. You don't tuck this in. It's a sweater. It's outside your purview. Stop it. But I need
Now
to
you're gonna look up a report and you're gonna find that shit
Oh,
out. dude.
You're
That
gonna
would
find,
be
he's gonna be like on
I would-
America's Most Wanted.
His hand went down too far down those pants to tuck that shirt in.
come to my office. We got to
You ever
talk
seen
about
that
your
picture?
shirt.
You remember his name?
It was want to say Robert something, but I maybe I do not remember.
No.
But the first principal we had, everybody liked him. He was like this older black dude. Everybody was like, hey, he was there, like very nice with the students. Everyone's like, oh hi, it's like he didn't hate authority figures, most likely at that point. And he was just that first principal was just a nice dude, nice guy, glasses. So he looked
Typically the
friendly.
ones that you like are the weird ones and the
But
ones
no,
that you don't.
this guy
like.
had a shaved bald head and was immediately a fucking asshole.
I remember one principal, Principal Tipton, and the only reason I remember that is because I used to get in trouble
Just be in
all
there.
the time, and I was like always in there. I actually broke the record in high school for most referrals without going to JJAP.
Dude, I was always in ISS or over in Shannon or
I stayed in. Yeah, I lived in ISS, but my and she won't admit this, but Miss Cheatham was my other was the actual vice principal at the time, and was terrified of my mom.
Oh, see, it wasn't like that for me. They just look at me like, dude, you're so poor that we're just not gonna fuck with you. Like,
I see. Well, that could have been that too, but like I know she was like, because my mom went in there and raised hell one day and like flipped over the desk almost.
no shit.
Yeah, real shit. And then after that day, they just left me alone. They were just like, "Fuck it, let that guy do whatever." I guess.
My mom would
and I would
perform
just
a
get
Forrest Gump.
ISS.
She would just fuck the principal, and I'd be good. Like,
That's what's up. See, your mom was cool.
no. When
Your
she was
mom's a cool
around,
shit.
when
I
she
can't
was
talk-
around.
I can't talk my way out.
My
of this
mom was
problem.
violent. Yours was a whore. It was like a whole.
Mama
thing.
said. My mama said you can fuck yourself out of anything. That's what she told me.
You could suck yourself out of anything.
Fuck yourself out of anything.
Or that,
Yeah.
whatever comes first. Are y'all guys ready to start this?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because I've been listening to you guys rant. And I'm like, I'm about to do an intro any moment now.
Well, the intro can be
And
halfway
they just
through, I
kept
guess.
Intro could be halfway through. Yeah. Well, it'd probably be going on anyway. But anyways, it's Ryan, right?
Brian.
Brian. Oh, I have a Brian in my family somewhere.
No, it's Ryan from now on.
No.
All right, Brad. Listen up. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. All right.
Have you heard the bit?
I think it's been a while.
I've only
since
done it a couple of times about being named Brian. It sucks.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of What Up World Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, aka the Coco Kid. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, wherever the fuck I'm at. To the left of me, the day, Shawn Santos.
Hey, how's
is
it going,
here.
guys?
And to the right of me is Brian Breckinridge. What's up, man?
One B too many. That's fine.
well,
Breckinridge.
Breckinridge? I thought it was
Bridge.
Bridge.
Like the brewery, like the cities, like the
there a city?
13th
Is
or
it Breckinridge
14th
City?
vice president.
I just learned something new. I'm sorry.
I'm not even going to try to repeat. I'm not even going to say
I like
brewery.
to-
geographically challenged here, so I didn't know there was.
Just like the vice president from the Buchanan administration.
Buchanan.
Yeah, like nobody knows that. I had to look this up. I just typed in my last name, like famous Breckinridges. Under So before Lincoln, Buchanan was president, and then his vice president was John C. Breckinridge.
Was it any relation?
Probably no relation. He spelled it I-N. We spell it E-N. That
can change.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter.
He could have just like disowned
You still,
the family.
you still grew up with a
But
racist family.
I am American royalty. So a little respect, please.
Hey, anyone in the White House back then, that was definitely.
We're basically the Kennedys before the Kennedys.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And then John C. Breckinridge ran against Lincoln, lost, and joined the Confederacy.
See, I fucking knew it.
Yeah, there it is.
Bam. Breckinridge are
we
fucking
tried.
owners. That sounds like someone.
Slave owners.
Yeah.
No, that's a heavy name. That's a powerful name. So
It's 3
Not no more.
syllables, 12
Probably
letters.
used to be at one point.
Nah,
Probably
still
not anymore.
powerful.
Think so?
yeah.
There's not
My
a,
name don't mean shit.
There's
I'm telling you
another
right now, there's not
there's
a
another
famous
comic
Southpaw
out there. We just met like online. I haven't really exchanged messages. His name's Keith Breckinridge. So there's another Breckinridge comic out there.
Yeah.
So one day maybe we'll meet.
I
And
had
then
a,
you have to kill him because there can only be one
Yeah.
Highlander shit status. Just got his throat on stage.
And then we'll have to fight for the sponsorship of Breckinridge Brewery.
Yeah.
To get it, become unofficial or
BB.
to become official sponsors. But now they're just getting
do you
free
ever,
promo.
do you ever look up your last name, see if anybody's famous?
Yeah, unfortunately, Dos Santos goes so far in a range of like medical people. Dos Santos is so popular; it's like everywhere in Brazil. So like, literally, my dad's still just a character not unlocked yet. I love that fucking statement, dude. It's so hard.
I didn't, but what I did do was I was on Facebook and there was a stupid shirt that popped up, and I think it did it with everybody's last name, but it said if a Tadlock can't do it, it can't be done. Type stupid shirt thing. So I went and I looked at the comments to see how many there were, and dude, it was like a lot. Yeah, none of them worth the shit, but they were there. And then there was what really threw me off was one of them was a black dude, and I was like, awesome, that's what's up. Got you there too. And then I remember when I worked at the bank a long time ago, a guy came up and he handed me his ID, and it was a black dude, and his last name was Tadlock. And I looked at it and I was like, the fuck out of here. And I looked at it again and I was like, holy shit, dude.
And
we
you
have
don't
the
want
same
to
last
say
name.
no. You don't bring it up to a
I
black
had
guy
to.
when you're white.
I had to. I had no choice. Like, because that was literally, and I mean literally, the first time I've ever seen
No,
anybody
any
with my
black
last
people
name.
named Norwood or Wallace, because we go back to William Wallace on my mom's side, to the Scottish side. So
You talk about what, Braveheart?
yeah, straight up. I can pull my 23 out right now.
that's
show
what's
you
up.
shit, dude. Yeah, right. So much fucking
Sorry what they did
greatness.
to him. That was pretty
Yeah,
fucked
it's
up.
pretty.
Hey,
fucked
we
up.
could be cousins because Breckinridge is, I believe, Scottish
Yeah,
or Breckinridge.
Bracken.
Yeah, or English or something.
Instead of saying bring out the Kraken, they're like bring out
Anytime-
the Bracken.
Anytime I've met, there's a Scottish guy I met at a bar in Arlington. I was just like, just talking to him. I was just like, hey, can I just throw this out your way? Breckinridge, does that mean anything? He's like, yeah, I think it's Scottish. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Hey,
Thanks.
you got a
That's
Scottish
all-
approval.
That's a good enough for me, man.
Stamp. Drunken Scottish guy's like, yeah, that's
Irish
good
first name, Scottish last name. There you go.
No, seriously, they go back so far. The roots on my mom's side are just straight up inbred all the way from Scotland to here. Like it's just, it don't change much.
Oh, that
you know what I'm
explains Shawn
saying?
Santos. There you go.
Oh yeah. That's what the lazy eye is.
That's
just
that
a little
lazy.
It shows only a little bit. Dude, honestly, if I didn't get any brown put inside of me in my DNA, I'd probably have a lot of fucking diseases. Being a mutt's great. I'm glad. Because my sister's special needs. She has myotonic dystrophy. My mom's special needs. My uncle has special needs. All of
It was
them have
just
these-
weird that you said to have brown put in you. It just seemed like.
my mom had brown put in her, and then that's what.
And then
made me-
That's the
what they
first.
do.
Yeah.
That's the first brown injection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
into the line.
That's probably what it is.
I mean,
and that's
'cause
where we also got cut off in the family too. It was when the first brown injection.
I mean,
came
that's
in.
how we have Hispanic people.
Grandma was like, nope, not that.
we can't tell them. We can't tell them. Don't let them find out.
Like you were being hidden under blankets and
Straight
shit.
up. Yeah.
To your grandma's
Like, oh,
house.
shit.
They're like hiding the baby. It's like, oh, he's asleep. You don't want to see
He
him right
can't
now.
see sunlight right now. We got to let him not see it.
Oh my god.
He's the browning is happening too much.
I think that's a
Oh, my
local
God.
metal band.
Oh yeah,
The Browning.
the Browning.
The Browning?
I believe so. I think my friends know 'em.
Some of the greatest metal bands.
Also a
have
street
some
near my
greatest
house,
names.
so.
The Browning.
So where can they find you, man?
My handles are Brian Breckinridge on Facebook, probably the only one. Twitter and Instagram, The Breckening at The Breckening. I made up the name The Breckening. I will never go on stage as The Breckening. It's just like a logo branding thing for me. I have it on T-shirts. I just ordered stickers because I love metal bands. I've seen them all my life. I got friends, and I love metal. And The Breckening just sounds, like The Reckoning. First of all,
I like it.
a good a lot of good metal bands, you know, it sounds biblical because it has like this like heavy ancient weight, you know, possibly violent, especially Old Testament. It's like the reckoning, you know. I was just like, well, the Breckinridge, and then I scribbled out a logo that.
When you came up with that, were you high or were you sober?
Maybe.
Because that sounds like something I would do if I was high.
But I've always been scribbling like band names, just thinking up band names, funny ones, serious ones. Back in high school, I had some friends in some bands. The funniest one I ever thought of was called the Coat Hanger Kids.
I have a...
And the logo was a fetus holding an...
Shawn was the first person that came to mind whenever you said that.
It was a fetus holding an unfolded out wire, clothes hanger. And what's funny, there's a female punk band called the Coat Hangers this day. So close, but I still think that's a Brian
Well,
original.
fuck that female band that likes coat hangers. That shit leaves scars.
Hilarious.
And they're deep. Some of them are deep.
That was back when you were just like edgy punk rock kids. I think we were listening to a lot of like Leftover Crack and Choking
remember the
Victim at the time.
Casualties?
Oh yeah,
Dude, the drummer.
my buddy Dave's the current singer.
The drummer back in the day.
Yeah.
Used to be my NA sponsor.
Oh, nice.
And I wish I could remember the name. It was Brian. I think it was Brian or Brad or something
Well,
like
their current singer, Dave Rodriguez, who also sings for Starving Wolves and the Crumb Bums, Austin-based guy.
that. Did I say the Casualties? I meant to say the Charismatics.
Oh, yeah, you said the Casualties.
I meant to say the Charismatics.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Well,
The
then-
drummer for the Charismatics.
never mind. Sorry,
They
Dave
were-
Rodriguez.
Yeah, they were back in the day, though, too. Back in the...
Casualties are from somewhere, but their singer had, I don't know, like canceled issues or something. But then again, I'm like, he's a scummy punk rocker. It's just like, well,
What do you expect?
Not surprised. But then they got Dave, who's like, he kind of does stand up. He did back in the day. We did a show at Sunshine Bar way back in the day with JT Habersat and probably Mike Wiebe. Had a bunch of people stay at my house that night, and Dave was just the nicest guy you can meet. And he left a coconut water in the fridge for me. I remember that. But
That's a gentleman.
but not the
that's-
charismatic. That's a DFW band,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, it's a local band back in the day. Yeah, the drummer used to be... Yeah, that was my sponsor when I was a kid. I'd never listened to him, dude. I was the worst guy ever.
I'm more concerned that you had a sponsor as a kid. Like,
Oh, dude, I started tried to get clean like when I was like 15, trying. And then
how old are you now?
I'm 32. 33. God damn, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Well, you keep trying.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
one of
no,
these
no,
days,
no.
I feel like you're going to do it.
One
I'm
day at a
great.
time.
I'm great. Like, this doesn't count. Everything else counts, though. Like, my drug of choice was back in the day was like methamphetamine. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you got to leave that shit alone.
I would.
That's why I leave my mom alone. It's too much access. It's like right there.
She's still doing it?
Most likely.
So you have no idea. You're just
Nah,
assuming,
I'm
making assumptions.
I got a text on my birthday, like literally last January, and it was like, "Have a great day, son." And I was like, "Thanks, mom."
Aw.
Feel sad for me. I need
know what
it.
to do with this info.
I just need hugs. And I was playing. Now let's go back to metal bands. Woo!
Yeah.
I don't know shit about what you guys are talking about. So I'm just
No,
letting
we're
you
just
guys
talking about like
rant
old
it
band,
out.
local
I know,
bands.
I know what you're talking about. I just don't know anything about it.
What was that old fucking? It used to be like the biggest, the Door, man. That was like the spot.
Oh yeah.
This Door, and then there was Lizard Lounge. Then you had fucking when we used to
Lizard
party-
I think that was
church.
That was
That's
a
the
deep. Yeah.
the church on
I went.
Sunday.
I went there one time with this like raver chick I was trying to hook up with, and the only time I've done ecstasy was twice, and that was with her. We went, and so we went to the Lizard Lounge, and we're just there. A lot of people were there, and I'm like, yeah, let's do some ecstasy. And she's got a score at the club, so and while she's a raver chick, so they're very flighty. Especially in their element, so she just goes off,
Flighty.
and I'm like, oh well, she's gone. Let me just hang out, and I was just like looking, and I was like, oh, the DJ looks weird. He's wearing a giant mouse helmet thing. Whatever, let's go. It was Dead Mouse. This was like maybe a year or two before he blew up, because he's at the Lizard Lounge. Like
So you're talking about like, and this is like,
this was probably 05,
oh wow,
06.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, that's a weird thing to wear while DJing. Okay, whatever. Where's that chick with that ecstasy?
Well, Marshmallow, where's the big Marshmallow?
Yeah, and then you have that, which I know very little about that world, but I know who that is.
I know who he is, but
'Cause
I
he's
don't
a
know
guy that
anything
wears-
about his music.
Wears helmets.
I thought he was wearing like a Lego head.
That's what I thought it was too. I'm not gonna
White
lie to you. I
Lego.
legit thought it
That's
was
what
a
it
Lego
started
head.
with, right? It was like a Lego head with two X's in the eyes,
I have
and then there's
no
the
idea.
big
like
mouse head.
the skeleton
down.
Legos. That's what they had. They had like that shape, and then it was white, and maybe the X's. I don't remember, but I had plenty of
don't
Lego
know. I
sets.
just know that that's the only thing I can.
I just didn't know that a mask could make you more popular with like techno. It was like, oh, you wear a mask.
Well,
Well, it sets
so
you
I
out.
remember Marshmallow's big thing was no one knew his identity. No one knew who he was.
Yeah.
He never promoted himself as himself. He promoted himself as Marshmallow. So everybody was curious.
So much like Daft Punk.
And he blew up. And then when he blew up, nobody still knew who he was.
Because it was never the same person. It was
His
just random
big
people he
reveal
hired.
was like later on.
Maybe it was like one producer and he just hires guys to, go up there and be victims of the jokes people like me make. I'm just like, you're just pressing play on a laptop, right? Which I know there's skill involved. I get that. But the younger, naive, juvenile me just likes to fucking rip shit. I'm just like,
weirdest thing,
oh, you're in your laptop.
To me, the weirdest thing is the silent parties where everybody has on headphones.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting there just dancing, going off, but then like there's no music.
But I mean,
Walking
it's a
into
great
that would freak me
idea,
out.
Especially you don't have to deal with noise ordinances. Like if you don't have like a lizard lounge type place to really blast that shit, then you're like, hey, we got this, or we got this space, but we're surrounded by apartments and condos and Karens.
Yeah.
We can actually do this. You just have to wear the headphones. So I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, the
ACKs. Bunch of pussies. We did this because of one reason. We rebelled. And we wanted to show that we rebelled. So a party was
But then the cops come and you're like, well, fun's over.
No, fuck the police.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
but
like some Project X shit. Like that's how we used to do it.
I would go to punk house shows, and sometimes my friends' parents actually they would host it. They were actually like cool, responsible people. I think everyone knew it's like, hey, don't fucking bring drugs here.
Don't ruin this spot for us.
Yeah, don't like Don. This family, Don was in my grade. The little sister Casey was younger grades, and this family was just amazing. Great people. They had this house that had this extra space. They had these punk house shows, and I think they were responsible and let the neighbors know, and they were cool with it. And those shows were great. And I'm not sure if there's even beer equated. It's like maybe if you have beer, go drink it in the car, but don't
go to the car and.
But then there are some punk house shows you just found out about, like you don't know whose house you're going to, and you show up, you're in this neighborhood, and it's like and it's like I would go there, I would never have any fun, maybe have a beer, but I'm just like, okay. Something tells me the neighbors weren't informed. There's a lot of cars on this street that are never. Maybe there might be a random birthday party during the day. Over here, there's some extra cars or something. I'm like, there's a lot more cars in this neighborhood than there ever are. If that's not if that's not suspicious, the loud noise from this house is going to be. And I would say I would never have a good time because I was just like the maybe slightly sober, naturally paranoid one. I'm like, the cops are showing up any moment now.
Have you ever
moment.
been at a party that got raided?
Almost every time.
Oh, okay.
The cops will show up, and I'm like, and I'm kind of like, well, I'm not here. I haven't drank anything, so I just kind of like, I can't get busted
What
for
about
anything.
you ever been at a party that got raided?
Raided? Just like cops come in, you just run off. We just hop the fence and go hit the creek.
We had a house A and a house B.
Well, we had empty houses that we just hit.
Yeah, so we had a house A that was like right here, right? It got raided, like hardcore raided too. Like they showed up deep. Everybody dipped. I think 3 or 4 people got arrested but we had a party. Like when I tell you we had a party, we had a fucking party. Like it was like chicks with no tops on in the back pool. Everybody's drinking. Everybody's fucked up. There's fucking hardcore drugs flying through this bitch.
Shit,
like it is like lit, right?
I wouldn't say flamethrower status.
Well, yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe like a lighter and some like fucking
Yeah, the aerosol cans.
Yeah, aerosol
We were
cans,
breaking
maybe
holes
that.
in walls and shit, like making tunnels.
Dude, fucking this house up. Like people, wrestling and pouring in the background. It was a lot of shit going on. And then like when the house got raided, because I remember the one big one we had got raided hardcore. Like they came in through the back door, the front door.
Wow.
Cops got ran over. Like we fucking dipped. And then everybody took off. Wait like 45 minutes for it to cool down. And then we end up in a house B, which is literally right across the street.
That's smart. That way it's like
The party never stops.
You almost plan for it to get buzzed. It's like the decoy house.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then we resume.
Yeah.
And bro, did you have backup
there were
party,
people running
backup
kegs
booze?
down the street? Like
Okay.
I swear to God, it was the funniest
Was this in Haltom?
thing you've ever seen. No, I was in Dallas.
Oh, okay. Let's say this shit. I definitely could see that happening in Haltom City like any day.
Nah, man, I was in Dallas, and like guys just grabbing cases and fucking like one chick on his shoulder and a keg on the other, and fucking running down.
I'm
And
still
fucking
gonna
police
fuck you
chasing, and
tonight.
like cars everywhere. Karen's coming out. Get off my lawn! It was like a whole thing, bro. And then they literally went from there to right across the street.
Wow. That's
And
smart.
then just resumed it.
House A and House B. All
House
right.
A, House B. Yep.
That's
Everybody
good.
knew where to go. Yeah, we all had like bug out plans.
Yeah, nowadays all the
That's
kids
smart.
do is take
Sit at
over
home and play
intersections.
Fortnite?
No, they the intersection takeovers now. Have you seen that shit
Yeah.
where they just do donuts?
Yeah.
And the cops are like, they're street racing. I'm like, no, that's not fucking street racing. Street racing's like fun.
That doesn't look competitive.
It's fun.
I don't see people out there measuring the marks on the ground. Be like, all right, good, all right, cool, 5 points.
There's
for
no
that.
fucking winner. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pointless. If there's no winner, it's pointless.
Unless you have like an applausometer.
If there's no money on the line,
which
it's pointless.
applausometers are rigged. Okay, don't. That's not a good judgment system there.
There's already the choice. They're like,
Yeah,
Yeah, but I've been to a couple parties that got way out of hand. I was at one party and a guy got knocked out. It was the first time I ever saw a guy really get knocked out, and I thought he was dead. And I wasn't the only one because everybody was like, "Oh, time to leave! All right, something get the fuck out of here."
That's a buzzkill.
And then, my buddy, shout out to Cody. My buddy Cody has been like a security guard his whole life. Like this guy just, even when we would have these parties, he was like the doorman of the parties.
Oh, wow.
And he's a big dude, not one to fuck with. He's not one of those guys that like
Always good. Yeah.
he's always been like
how old were you?
fucking,
People just
stacked.
naturally hand him an ID, and it's like, what?
He just stands at the door and they just hand him
I'm
an
trying
ID.
to buy groceries, man.
No,
What are
he
you
wanted to
doing?
make sure that he knew everybody that was there, because like when people that don't really like we don't know you show up, then
He was
like,
the fat
needs
guy
to
that needed
know.
validation.
No, not at
He was
all.
like, I need to know you.
No, he was definitely just.
I'm
he was just a big guy, and
No
people
offense
didn't have
to
fuck
that.
with him.
If your
But-
NFL career never got started because you got injured in college, that's a great fallback of just being a
Security
de facto
guard?
security
I mean,
guy.
if you want your dreams to die early,
if you're
sure.
genetically a security guy, because there's just some of those people. I ran into an old security guy at the mall. So my old job had me go to bars and gas stations and give out cigarette coupons. I was at a bar in Grand Prairie, and this guy, Jeremy, I walk up and I was just like, hey, man, what's up? Because I used to work at the Irving Mall at the movie theater. So we kind of knew, first name basis, the mall security guys. Because it was the theater. And back in that day, you had kids sneaking into movies in general, but also sneaking into R. That's when they really cared about keeping kids at R movies.
Yep.
And
Harry
and
Potter.
my best friend would also really fuck. He really fuck with the mall security, like to the point it was just a game. Back with him and this other guy Faraz, they just made it a fucking game to harass mall security, and especially this guy Jeremy. What's funny is Faraz's dad owned a luggage shop in the mall, and Faraz worked at the Sunglass Hut. So it was like he worked there and also fucked with the security. But our friend Anthony, like they would fuck with them and to get chased off the property. And once they're outside of the property, they're like, you can't do anything. You're mall security.
Yeah, you rent a cop, bitch.
This guy Jeremy, and he got to a point where Anthony got banned at the mall. And my buddy Anthony has great stories. So I just tell his stories because I don't have that great of stories myself. But so he got banned from the
think you're
mall.
great.
It was like senior year of high school. And his mom's amazing now, super chill and laid back. But in high school, she was our front desk receptionist. So he went to high school every day, and his mom's there. His mom knows his teachers, all these
that's a
students.
nightmare.
And she was just really clamped down on his schoolwork and everything. And he also just
Exactly.
was acting up in class. His dad had failing health and all this shit, so he's just kind of acting out. We've just discussed this, being lifelong friends. Anyway, so he was banned from the mall. And so he's just like, all right, can't go to the mall. That's fine. All right. And his mom was like, hey, I need you to go to like a Dillard's or a Mervyn's or something to pick up this or whatever. He's just like, sure. I can't go to like Walmart and get that. So she's like, no, you have to go here, like to the Irving Mall. And he was just like, oh, shit. Okay. So he's like there. He kind of like just creeps up because they know his truck. He has like this light gold F-150 at the time. Like kind of noticeable, nothing like tricked out or anything, but they know his car because he's fucked with them, literally ran away from security. They know his car. So he parks, I think, slightly off the property. He's like wearing a hat and glasses, just like trying to sneak in, just get there. And I don't think there's like a great conclusion of that. I think like security, like
Did get him?
they put him out. He's like, I know, guys, I'm sorry. My mom sent me here. I just got to get something. Can you just let me? I don't want this to have to go up to the cops or get that kind of level. But it was.
Did they let him?
I honestly don't.
What was it? What was the item that was needed?
I don't know. The funny point is that he was banned from the mall, and is just classic sitcom scenario. His mom made him
sneak into the mall pretty much.
She didn't know he was banned. She didn't know he was fucking around like that. And she makes him go to the mall. What's funny is my girlfriend and I are watching Malcolm in the Middle right now, and it sounds like a fucking scenario from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes, I got you.
Like Reese is banned from the mall, and he's got to go pick up something.
I like that.
But
That's crazy.
there's not a great. He has other stories with amazing conclusions, but this one, it's just the funny scenario of him with the glasses, just classic sneaking in anywhere. Like,
What's his race by chance? Just
white.
Really? What's his name?
Anthony.
Oh, because you kept saying a different name, like Rajiz or
No, that our friend Faraz.
Faraz. Oh, okay.
Who was he's Pakistani Muslim, and he was the wildest motherfucker. That he was making 9/11 joke. Like, we're in high school during 9/11, and he was a grade above us. So we're class of 03, his class of 02. Faraz gave no fucks about anything. Partied. He stole. Like, I bought a pair of nice Oakleys, like in his bedroom. Because he would just jack sunglasses. Does not give a fuck. This dude was making 9/11 jokes before anybody. You want to talk about diversity? Faraz Hosmani was... So, okay, that was high school. And he was a guy who's just like, man, if you hang out with him, wild shit's probably going to go down. So I had to keep him at an arm's length. So he lives in Houston now. Last year, I went and did some shows in Houston. There's this great venue down there called Secret Group. And Faraz just has a Facebook group. An Instagram. And so I posted the flyer because I was doing like 3 shows in 2 days down there. Got an Airbnb just near the club. So and Faraz was like, "Hey, I live like in that neighborhood. I'm gonna come see one of your shows." So I was like, okay, fuck." There's no way around it because I'm going to be here. He knows where I'm going to be. So I was just kind of like, all right, I'm going to lean into it, but also let him know I'm going to hang out with him till like the bars close. Like, I'm not going to his place or any after hours thing.
Are you scared of your Pakistani friends?
I was just about to say that sounds like you're scared.
I know my limits. Also, I'm out of town, and I don't know what kind of shit he's going to get into.
Like he's pick fights and shit like that too.
So it didn't get that far. But so we go. I do. There's like 2 midnight shows at the Secret Group. They do they're dirty shows, and so I did both nights, and he came and saw like the one on Saturday night. Luckily, I was like, hey, or I just made up some shit. I was like, yeah, let's definitely get lunch when I. Let's get brunch tomorrow. This is gonna be Sunday the next day. I'm like, yeah, let's definitely get brunch. I just didn't.
I need people around me so I can be safe.
So we go. I do the show. It lets out. It's about 1. So and there's plenty of bars in the neighborhood. So he's like, yeah, man, I live I walked here, lived right by. He was telling me all the things he was doing. He's very entrepreneurial in the things he does, which I respect that. He's driven, entrepreneurial. Legally and probably illegally.
So he sells drugs. It sounds like
maybe.
Way of saying
Maybe.
Meth dealer.
So we go. No shit. We go around. I'm like, yeah, let's just go. I'm like, pick a place. Let's go have a couple of drinks. Like my Airbnb is like a 3-minute drive from here, so I'll be fine. I'm like, I can have some more drinks. And we go around. He's like, all right, yeah, let's go to this one bar. We go to this one bar. We're walking. We're like 10 feet away. There's a door guy, and we're walking just like a foot behind him. And the door guy looks out and goes, no. I just kind of start laughing. He's like, what, man? He's like, no, dude, no. And he was just like, man, but he's the previous manager here. He doesn't even work here anymore. Like the guy that banned him doesn't. He's like, no, dude, no. I was just like, all right. So we go around, and I'm sitting there just like, I want to crack up, but I'm just like, all right, this is hilarious. Classic for us. 20 years later, same dude, and we go to a different bar. He's like, nah, not tonight, man. And I'm just...
He's burnt like, every local bar.
Damn. Well, the first 2, we're 0 for 2. He's 0 for 2. I can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And
White privilege.
Then we go to this big-ass sports bar. They got this big kind of outside area and this other big area where you can, like... I don't know, there's TVs everywhere. We're walking there. Door guy... He's like, sup, dude? And like, they just like dap it and everything. He's like, what's going on? They catch up for a second. He goes to the bartender, says hi. He's like, hey, is I don't know, the manager, Steve or whatever. He's like, oh yeah, he's in kind of like the back, area. And it's getting close to closing. Place isn't that busy. He's like, oh yeah, cool. So we get a couple of drinks. And he goes, meets up with that guy, and it's kind of in like an outside area, so I start smoking a cigarette. I'm just like, I'm gonna let them catch up. He's got to talk to him about something, and we're drinking. They're talking, they're buds, obviously. And then I see that he buys Coke from that manager, and I was just, I'm like,
you met the plug, is what you're saying.
I was like, fucking classic. This guy.
Hey, did you get that for both of us?
So y'all were doing lines, then what happened?
No, I don't.
Just keep bumps, bro.
I've done Coke once.
Keep it casual.
I've done Coke once, and I'm like, that's fine.
Once?
And then fell in love with it. Let him finish his fucking sentence.
Okay.
What's funny is my other best friend, that was the time I did it. I can go into this story if you want. A great conclusion on this one. This was a story I know. So our weed dealer at the time in Irving, he also sells blow. And at the time, me and this buddy, my buddy Philip, who we started doing stand-up together. Philip also likes to write and play music, and just a jack of all trades, but only goes so far with everything he does. But hey, he's got a lot of interest. So we want to film an independent movie, and he's finalizing the script, just dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and all that.
Can you tell us the name of it, or are you still?
It was called Moving Mountains.
Okay.
It was about the coming of age thing, about kids. A lot of it based on us. And just
coming on kid. Okay. Ooh.
Coming of age.
Oh, of kids. Okay.
He only heard 2 words. Coming on kids, or 3 words.
It was like it's like a millennial Days of Confused kind of thing.
Nice.
Just like kids trying to figure out what do I want to do, like or out of high school. Like trying to figure out relationships, jobs is where we want to go, and the Moving Mountains was based off of one of the Dr. Seuss books. I forget. The Places You'll Go.
Oh, okay.
There's a line from that, and like Philip, like guy really thinks about the shit he does, and I was like, oh great. I read the script. I was like, okay, cool. And it was just all of our friends were going to be in it. We shot about let's say a fourth to a third of it. Nothing ever came of it. So, but before that, he wants to finalize the script. So what he does, he gets a motel room at a place he used to work at, a Motel 6, just off of 183 in Irving. So he gets there. He knows he could smoke cigarettes in there. So the plan was, all right, go to this room. You can smoke cigarettes. You can smoke some weed. And he started dabbling in blow. And so he gets all that. And so
dabbling.
And so he gets that, and he tells me that's his plan. I'm like, oh, cool. And then, he's going to do that in a few weeks. And then a few days later, a friend of ours who works like in the radio industry, she's like, hey, I got these tickets to see Roger Waters. I can't use them. They're just like lawn seats. He was like, oh, yeah, I'll take them. And then so he tells me, he's like, hey, and this is the same night he planned to go to the hotel room or motel room. Was the Roger Waters show. So the new plan was I'll meet up with him. We'll fuck around with the script, just go over some things. And then, because my job was producer on the script.
Nice.
Which meant nothing. And then, so go see Roger Waters, bail whenever we want to, go back to the motel room, fuck around. I'll go home. And he, smokes, and does blow and really finalizes the script. So we go. I meet up with them. We're in the motel room. We smoke a joint and do some lines. It's my first time. Just kind of like, okay, I see why people do this. All right. So as he's like, at some point typing on the computer, I make sure to, it's a motel room. The eye hole has like an obstruction in it. I want to guess like a straw wrapper was like wadded up and put in there for whatever reason. I remember seeing that and telling him that. He doesn't hear me. He's on the computer. I was like, yeah, that's weird. This is foreshadow. So we go. We're high. We do the blow. We go to Dallas, see some Roger Waters. We're like, okay, yeah, cool. And then we come back, and we're in the, maybe smoke some more weed, maybe do a couple of bumps. And then I leave about 2 a.m. Just go home. And then the next morning, his little brother calls me. He's just a few years younger than us. And he was like, hey, we talked to Philip? I was like, well, no, we hung out last night. He was in the hotel room with the script, and we went and saw Roger Waters. He's like, what's up? He's like, we got a call, something about a felony. I was like, news to me? That's weird.
Oh, shit.
So what happened, there's a what happened, and then we find out more details of what actually happened later on. So what happened is, so I leave about, let's say 2. About 2:30 or so, he hears a knock at the door. And so he thinks it's me. Okay, first of all, I'm not an idiot. I know what's in that room. If I left something in there, I'm going to call him. He has a cell phone. I have a cell phone. I will call you. I know what's in there. No, so he goes and opens the door. Just opens it. Here's the knock, opens the door. I'm like, first of all, if he had listened to me, because I've always just been the slightly older, responsible one, like being nervous at the house show, knowing the cops are going to show up at some point. Foreshadow. If he would have known, he maybe would have remembered, oh, Brian talked about the eye hole. I can't see in the eye hole. I'm going to take that out. Oh, shit, there's 2 cops out there. If anything, don't open the door.
Yeah.
Maybe flush the drugs. Maybe. That's even if you want to open the door.
Give yourself some time.
They can eventually get in there if they want.
Yeah.
Or flush the drugs. It's going to smell like weed. It's also going to smell like cigarettes at the smoking room. But they can't pin anything on you if you don't have the drugs. They're in the pipes. And so he opens the door, and just being like a novice dealing with the cops. We weren't dudes to fuck around, get in trouble or anything. We just like smoking weed, hanging out, and having a good time. Never caused any problems. So he's talking to the cops, fumbling on his words, and he's like, what's going on in here? First of all, the TV was never on. We were never loud. We put towels under the door. We're also smoking cigarettes to try to cover up any weed smell or smoke. Yeah. So one, we didn't find this out later for months. Why were the cops even there? He was not making any noise. Like, he was just on his laptop, not even playing music. TV's not even on. So he's fumbling over his words, telling, just trying to make up a cover story on the spot. Not that good at it. He was like, I got a girl in here, and there's no girl. And they're like, how old is this girl? And he's like, okay, all right, there's no girl. Okay, I got some stuff. And they're like, all right, we've heard enough. So he's got the door open. They go in there.
He didn't
they
even try to come up with a story. That was it.
Not that good. Not that. But the thing is, he's not a guy to get in trouble, so he doesn't have
Know how
that.
to lie.
He's not that good at lying on his feet. He's a good dude. Like, he's just a real good dude. But he also he hates the cops. He hated the cops well before this. He's the guy that got me into punk. He hates the cops, but he also, I don't think he respects the cops enough to have interacted. He doesn't know how to play the game. Yeah, it's just all visceral.
We're all pieces of shits. Like, we know how to play the game.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. But the thing is, he just hates the cops. He's so idealistic. It's like, even like getting like a speeding ticket, he's just passive aggressive and shit. I'm just like, man, play the fucking game. All right. I think he knows better these days. So they bust him, see the coke, see the weed. Now I don't think they care about the weed at this point. It's like, oh, there's the coke. He's in jail. So that's what, and then when he gets out, that's what happened. And like, now he's got felony probation, felony charge, all that. I think he gets hit down to misdemeanor. It has to be on probation for, I don't know, 6-9 months, maybe a year. I don't remember.
That stopped the process of that movie being finished?
Pretty much. I think we did like film things eventually, but again, only like a quarter or a third. So, but the thing is that always hung up in the air was, why were the cops there? Like, there's no reason for anyone to have like. Nothing. Like, you're on a smoking floor.
Yeah.
I don't think you're in a Motel 6. I don't think anyone cares if anyone
your life
smells weed.
Sucks. You're fucking.
There's literally prostitutes next door getting railed. Like,
are you that shitty
drug
that
dealers
you're
everywhere.
also in a Motel 6 and you're just like, I smell weed next door. I don't have any weed. Just like, I don't know. Like, why were the cops even there?
Bougie Motel 6.
How did the
Maybe
cops
that's
know
fun.
to knock on your door?
Yeah, and definitely because the peephole is closed too, so they can't like look into the peephole. Like,
Yeah,
and see.
not doing like the Seinfeld reverse peephole bit. Like, not even that. And so what we found out later on is that what the cops will do, and this is kind of like shitty on any business that does this, and maybe they do it just to have the cops like give them like extra attention or be cool with any bullshit they have. So the cops came, and the people at the front desk apparently let the cops look at the registry. So you have like your ID on file or address. So this is a motel in Irving. He lived literally 10 minutes away.
So why are you staying in a motel?
If you have a local address and you're in this motel, that's a red flag.
Wow.
And so they saw that, went to his room, literally now if I was there, I would have been smart enough to been like, shut, like, okay. Again, I'm not, this man of the streets, have all this cred or anything. I would have been like, shut up. I would have been like, oh fuck, it's the cops. Yeah. And okay. And then I could have been like, we flush this shit immediately right now. We flush it. And then we would have dealt with the cops, in a room that maybe smelled like weed, had no weed, cigarettes, and then they'd had nothing on us. That's if I would have been there. That's the best. That's my theory.
They would assume gay sex if you would have been there.
If anything.
Yeah, they're like, oh.
They would not even smelled of sex. So
well, we were
maybe
trying
these
to cover
guys
the
tried and couldn't even get past making out.
It smelled like.
Maybe they tried some hand stuff and they realized they're just friends.
And see how nervous you guys are. I'd be like, yeah, we were gonna try to be gay, but it didn't work out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We could have made it awkward for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was back in, this is before gay marriage was legal. So the
Yeah,
cops
that
might
would
have
have
worked
worked.
it out.
Yeah, it probably could have.
They'd be like, well, no, we can't arrest them for sodomy. Let's get out of here. So
I didn't want to do it in my home.
that's why they knocked on the door. And then through his just incompetence with authority figures, he fucked up his way into probation, into a felony charge, probation, whatever. It's off his record now, but that was just the weirdest thing. We wanted to find out that last bit of information as to why did the cops knock on your door that, I think it was Saturday night at 2:30 a.m. How did that,
That's
I didn't narc on him. I went home. I'm not going to do that to him. And
sure you did.
That's wild.
and it was just the weirdest thing. Then we found out later. I was just like,
I used to
holy
live in a
shit.
It was a
hotel.
shitty prank that you set up for him, and then in the long run, you just try to still
I hired
cover
some
it.
guys.
Hey man, I know this guy over here. He's being really awkward and loud. Heavy masturbation. Yeah.
A lot of heavy panting coming from this room. I need you guys to check it out. Something's up.
It's getting steamy in here, guys.
That toilet keeps flushing an awful lot. I don't know what they're doing in there, but we need to figure it out quick.
The gerbils won't go down.
But if he just would have, and this has been like a lifetime thing, like, hey, maybe some people just fucking listen to me every once in a while.
Being in hotels, because I used to live in a hotel, we're right off of, I think it's South Garland and Saturn, I believe. It's Kingsley. It's the Kingsley Inn Hotel right there in Garland. It's a really shitty hotel. And living there, I mean, the amount of shit that went down was just, you could write a book about it. It was so much. There was a lady that got murdered 4 doors down from me. And we heard it happen, like late at night.
And nobody
but
checked.
But we didn't know what it was. Because basically what had happened was we found out later when we were being talked to by the police or whatever. And I was on probation too. So like I was on felony probation. Like, oh shit, oh the fuck, the cops are at my door. What the fuck is this? But I didn't have anything. I wasn't doing anything, so it didn't matter. But yeah, basically what happened was a drug deal gone wrong. She tried to set up a drug dealer, and he shot both of them and left.
Ooh.
And so
That'll
they
happen.
didn't find her for till the next day when checkout came, and they were knocking on the door like, "Hey, you got to get the fuck out of here. You haven't paid." And then lo and behold, one of the house ladies opened the door, and you heard her scream, and then she fucking ran, and it was a whole scene. But the way we heard it was late at night. It's probably like, I want to say around 2-ish, 2:30 or something. Like, we heard a lot of commotion, and I was laying there, and I was like, oh, here we go again, because it's always something. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, we heard 2 loud bangs, and I was like, oh, shit. Now, I'm staying in the hotel. Like, I'm not getting out of here.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. I'm not going nowhere, son. So I'm just laying here like, all right, no, that's that. And rolled over and went to sleep.
I got all 3 locks locked.
Fucking woke up the next day to police 6:30 in the fuck. No, it was later than that. It had to be like at least 12 because I just came back from the store. And,
Did you grab Ricky and you go ask the kids if they wanted to see a dead body? You're like, hey,
No.
kids.
Will you stop with your weird references? No, it was nothing like that. Like we left because it was me and a buddy, and then we came back. And when we came back, we literally had shut the door. I'm putting all the groceries up and stuff, like the little stuff we can't eat in the store. And all of a sudden, on the door, like loud, like they were like banging on it. I was like, what the fuck? I thought they were here for rent, but I was like, but I paid it for the week, so that can't be it. So I go up, I open the door, fucking, it was Garland Police Department was there. And I was like, can I help you? Because I immediately assumed probation. I didn't think, I completely forgot about all that. Like, that could have been a dream for all I fucking know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, oh, fuck, my PO called. Oh, shit, I popped dirty. What the fuck? So, like, I opened the door, and they started asking us questions like, you hear anything last night? And I was like, not that I could think of. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's right. Like, about 2 in the morning, we heard loud bangs, but that was it. And then they took our statement.
Business as usual.
Dude, every day. Every fucking day it was something.
Where do you think we are, man?
I was what was I? I was with my brother, and we had just pulled up to his apartment one time, and as we pulled up, his headlights on his truck hit a body right here. And it was just laying behind one of those little parking bumps, those.
Oh shit!
It was
You
laying
probably
right behind.
couldn't see that. Yeah.
And we didn't see it at first. And as he was backing up, I was looking. I was like, "Is that a fucking body?"
So you hit a person, a dead person?
No. We didn't hit anybody. We had pulled up and it backed up, so we didn't even get close to it, right? and I look and I was like, is that a body? And I was like, dude, that's a body. And he was like, no, it's not. It's probably just a dog or something. I was like, that's a fucking body, bro.
Yeah, or 3 dogs.
So I get out, I go up and I look and I kind of just peep over in this chick and wearing nothing but like a nightgown. So just nothing on underneath. And I was like, uh-oh. So I get back in the truck and we sit there and we're like, what do we do? And
You're just staring at a dead chick?
He was like, I don't know. And I was like, well, maybe we should call the police. And he was like, oh, call 911. My brother's so tough. And so I swear to God, he's that guy. So I was like, well, I am. So I pick up the phone, call 911, and they were like, okay, I need you to go up and see if she's breathing. So I'm like, all right, mind you, it's 42 fucking degrees outside. It's cold as shit. So I go up there and wind's blowing and it's a whole thing. And I was like, man, I don't know, bro. So I go up and she's got like light breathing. Oh. I was like, she's still breathing, but it's really shallow. It's not full breath. And then the lady on the phone goes, I need you to give CPR. And I was like, yeah, no. No, I'm not doing that one because she's not gonna wake up and start swinging on me. You fucking rapist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, not doing that.
Also, I don't know what she has. Will you cover my medical bills till forever?
Exactly.
Was there a cure for Hep B back then?
So anyway, I sat there with her. Oh, I didn't sit there. Like I stood on the side, like away from the scene. I didn't want to be anywhere near it. And I was like on the phone. And I was like, what else can I do to help her? You know what I mean? And they were like, do you have any like, blankets or something to help out or some shit? And I was like, no.
Is your house on fire?
No, I doubt it. They're probably just cooking something.
Oh, okay.
So anyway,
As we're burning to death.
as we're dying slowly. But anyway, and then like I was like, no, I don't have any blankets. I don't have anything like that. So there's not much I can really do with this. And so they showed up, and then it was really weird because they had told me. They were like, yeah, she probably just got drunk and passed out right here. So I took that for what it was. I was like, okay, cool. 3 days later, in the newspaper, and you can look it up, there was a serial rapist on the loose. And I was like, I just like immediately associated it with that. And I was like, what if this chick was like literally raped and dumped there? And that was,
damn.
Yeah. And I was like, holy shit, what if? And I don't know what ever happened to her. Like that was the last I ever saw that.
They ever find a serial rapist?
To my knowledge, no.
Wow.
So.
And you were the only witness?
Yep. But it wasn't me, Shawn Santos.
Sounds like a good cover story to me.
Yep. Well, I wasn't the only witness. I mean, my brother was there.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
But he's not the rapist type, and unfortunately, neither am I. So
I don't know, bro. I'm waiting for the Netflix fucking story 10 years later where they're like, hey, Shawn Santos, you want to be on there and tell you how you interviewed the killer? How you talked to him personally?
Yeah, and thankfully you denied the CPR thing because
Let's just know you really care about her life.
now your DNA is not on the scene.
Yeah.
Or I mean on her.
On her.
Or on her scene.
right.
Or in her
Or
scene.
anywhere. Because then you'd be like, oh, hey, you know that girl whose life you tried to save and you did the CPR
So
you don't
for
know
those
how to
at home,
do?
this is why you don't tell comics anything. Just FYI, if you're ever going to talk to a comic, just don't tell them about your life because then this is what you get.
You're giving them
you get
material.
accusations.
It's
crazy
not accusations,
accusations.
it's just theories.
It's just theories.
We are locust. We will swarm. The worst is talking to. I sometimes hate being in a conversation with a group of comics. Like I got my personal limits, like 4 or more. I'm kind of okay. Maybe 5 or more is my limit.
I can do 2.
Because 4, well, if you have the certain type of comics that just need to be the center of attention, which I don't. I don't care.
Clearly.
I don't mind. This is great. Podcast, that's the perfect scenario. On stage with the microphone, PA lights, great. That's the scenario. But then you have some comics, and a lot of these comics may also, they're just naturally hyped, could be on coke, whatever. Or they also do improv, which the improv people need fucking attention. And then they just, the conversation, it ceases to be a conversation, and it's just a game of one-upsmanship over. And that could be any comic that even doesn't do improv.
But
and
it sucks
just
with like 6 people because it's like one up. It's like a little game of fucking passing jokes
because it
around.
possibly started with 3 people talking about a subject, i.e. a conversation with people, and then it just devolves into something. I'm like, I can't follow this anymore. I don't care. I can maybe get in 1 or 2 good ones.
That's so true, though.
But I'm not the quickest.
It's so true.
I'm more calculated, I like to think.
We're
but
talking
I'm
about
like,
families, and it runs all the way to like pink poodle pussy. You're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Dude?
Exactly.
Like, where do I go
yeah,
from
and it
there?
gets to a place where I'm just like, I don't care about cracking
Or you're
cracking
talking
jokes
about
like this.
what you do outside of the comedy theater, and then the next thing you know, you have 9/11 jokes flying around. It's
just-
always some crazy.
Yeah, what's
shit.
that? What's that law? That internet law where it all goes down to Hitler?
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what the
remember.
law is.
It's not Euler's law. That's a math thing that I only know from a reference in the show Veep.
I totally feel
that's a
you there.
number.
Right. I only know that because I
Euler's
had a
number.
guy.
There we
that-
go. Euler's number.
Yeah, I don't know.
You just
Comics
it just gets too much ego into it. Like everybody's got to be the funnier.
I gotta be.
person.
I'm like, guys, we're all fucking comedians. It doesn't matter. We all have our personal opinions on how funny our fellow comedians are or are not. Well, we prove ourselves on the stage, and then reputation booked, and how
Everybody talks shit.
How well we do and all that. And I'm just like, can we just fucking talk? Like we are here because we're all funny to some degree. That's fine. I don't care if we're trying to be funny, but then it be too many cooks. It becomes too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And
Too many cooks spoil the pot.
and it's too many, and whatever's coming out of this kitchen, it does not taste good for me. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go in the living room.
It's overabundance.
Yeah.
It's just too much.
I'm gonna go in the living room and look at my phone,
Just stay there and be quiet.
and that by that I mean go to the other part of the patio and look at my phone.
I don't know. Ever since I started comedy, you were like one of the first comics I met kind of in the scene because I was very new. I've only been in now 2 years, and I know you've been in for like, what, 7, 8, 9?
About 13.
13.
14.
Well,
I
because the
don't know.
COVID gap and everything like that.
Yeah, I still include that. But even like for the first 5-6 years, it was just fucking around and having. There was a time where in DFW, some open mics, not all of them, but some were just they were just a great place to hang out and have fun. Yeah, we're here to do the open mic, but it didn't matter because we had such fun. We had closed down the bar, easy. Hyenas Arlington, what's great is some comics are like, there was no, they didn't know Hyenas had an Arlington location. That was the first Hyenas.
We had Plano, Arlington, and
You had Arlington and Fort Worth first. I'm not sure which came first, and then at some point,
the one in Fort Worth was first.
there's possibly that one's
then-
probably always a different location than it is now.
Yeah.
It used to be right next to Dirty Murphy's or something. So you had Fort Worth and Arlington. When I started, it was Fort Worth and Arlington, and then at some point, Arlington shut down. And then I used to live in Euless. I just shoot down the highway and hang out in Arlington all the time, even on the weekends. And when that shut down, I took it so hard because that's where I was trying. Everything I had accomplished meant nothing anymore.
because that was your home.
It was my home.
Yeah.
And then they opened up Plano. Well, I had to start over again there because I was we'd go to the open mic at Fort Worth, but I wasn't and everything I accomplished wasn't much. I get on some weekends, but because it was some people were no longer involved.
You were vested though. there.
Yeah, and so when that shut down, it was like, oh, cool. I got set back a few years, and I was like, fuck. And then they opened up Plano, and then Dallas came up at some point, and at some point they closed down Plano, so now it's just Dallas and Fort Worth. But Hyenas Arlington, their Wednesday open mic was so fun. It was like a fucking party. Oh. There was you could smoke inside. The drinks were flowing. There was 3 different places comics would go, in the parking lot or behind the building to smoke weed or maybe a car. And then it went to we were hanging there past 2 every Wednesday, and then many times to ingratiate myself with the club, I would host that open mic. We didn't have this block pussy bullshit they have these days. You host this block of 6, 7 comics, and then this next comic, I would host just to be like, hey, you can rely on me. Also, if you host 40 to 50 comics, one host. But also, they just give you free drinks for hosting. And then eventually, you're kind of like, hey, oh, cool.
So it has its perks.
Oh, and then that'd help you probably get on a weekend, which it didn't help me get some weekends. But it was also like, hey, here's your free drinks, and it's cool. And it was a slog, but it was still had some fun. I was also where at some point, Kate, the bartender, she made plenty of fucking money that night. Just it was the open mic, gives a shit. Bar separate from the stage. One time I was just she's like, you want a beer or whatnot? I was like, you want something different? Something I haven't had in a long time, or really haven't tried out. She's like, what about a Bloody Mary? I'm like, you know what? And again, I'm in my mid-20s. I'm not an experienced drinker. I was like, you know what? Yeah. She's like, well, I never make Bloody Marys here. It's comedy club. People are at night. It's night. People are ordering drinks. She's like, I don't know how much to charge. And the owner's brother, who was also part owner, Jim Butler, he was just walking by, probably a little drunk himself. She's like, Jim, how much are Bloody Marys? And he was just like, I don't know, $2, and then walked away. And this wasn't well vodka. She put in like, she was like, we both look at each other like, $2 it is. And she made amazing Bloody Marys. Like first time I seen them, like, you know, she poured in she's like, you like olives? I'm like, I don't like olives. She's like, what about the olive juice?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, pour that in. It's a nice little salty, ingredient in there. And
So you got special Bloody Marys made at this
$2 Bloody Marys, host 4-hour long open mic.
Oh my god!
In this block
So
shit.
you've seen so many comics come and go.
Yeah.
When's usually the part where you see them go? Typically, is it like first few months? Is it a year, 2 years?
What do you mean go? Like
Like,
move
we-
on?
Just stop.
Yeah,
Like,
or
just
stop,
showing up.
give up.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe about 6 months. It depends how ambitious they are. They maybe at that open mic because they live nearby, and then maybe they get to the point where they're like, they find out, oh, okay, cool. There's all these other open mics, and then maybe they find out where they are. Maybe transportation's an issue, or they don't want to drive. You know, then they have to like sacrifice all these nights. You know, who knows when they go up, when they show up, or if they try to hit up multiple mics. Like
feel
to
like
me,
there's-
I was always on board. Like growing up, going to see bands play. You know, living in Irving, Euless, and Arlington, I have to go to where the bands are: Fort Worth, Dallas, Denton. So I was just like, I'm driving as far, or maybe shorter, than I did to go see bands play. It's more frequent because you're doing open mics and doing shows. And I was like, oh, the driving, I got that. That's no problem. And then late at night, I love staying up late. You know, and drinking's part of this. Oh, I can do that. Luckily, you know, and these days I've scaled out my drinking a lot, but, you know, never had a DUI, which did seem like a rite of passage for some comics, which is one I'd never wanted. And I was,
No.
yeah, I've driven home drunk plenty of times from my
You just never
shows.
got caught. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
it is. Like,
or
you
I
did
knew
it.
better. There was times where I was just like falling asleep, and you know, thank God for those bumps on the shoulders, like brrr, you're like, I'm awake, I'm awake.
Thank God for those guardrails.
Yeah,
Oh shit! That shit's
I'm gonna go
bad.
run to the bathroom and let you gents take it.
Oh, okay.
but there's
You gotta
like
poop.
No.
personal limits for some people that are like, I don't like all the driving. You know, the night stay. You know, maybe they're like, okay, I can stay out till like 10 or 11 or something. I can't stay out past this, and you know, maybe they're kind of like, oh, not for me because of like the late nights on the weeknights, the driving. And then probably,
I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say, has there ever been like a comic that you've seen, like maybe even be in the first few years, and then they fall off, but you're like, wow, you had such potential, or like,
plenty of people.
Plenty.
Just and for whatever reason, they're just my buddy Tyler. He was in like a hardcore band called Decades. They would play. They play. I don't think I ever saw them, but they would play at places I would see shows at.
Mm-hmm.
And when he started doing comedy, because he lives in the Fort Worth area, kind of like the Magnolia area.
okay,
Maybe
so
lives
the
there. Yeah. So I'd see him. He had like all these tattoos, and we got to talking, and turns out we had a lot of music in common. We like hot water music. You know, just all these awesome punk bands, and you know, see the bands that he played in, and so he started doing some comedy, and he was a guy that like it was never serious for him, but man, when he would have a good set, it was really. He also just had like this. He's kind of a shorter dude, you know, this kind of cool like little low voice, most of the time.
so ego is like high, like seemed like he was very
Not even
confident,
really
comfortable.
Confident because he had the stage experience,
Yeah.
but he wasn't one of these musicians. I met plenty of musicians that are like, dude, I couldn't do what you do. I couldn't do comedy because I'm on stage with the band. We rehearse these songs, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I've had Sam Anderson of the Quaker City Nighthawks. I had him do, which is he's toured different countries, played in front of massive crowds. And I had him. We did a show, Road Stories, at Maine at Southside with JT Habersat, Kyle Shutt from the band The Sword, Mike Wiebe from the Riverboat Gamblers, and this guy Dirty Charlie, who opened up with songs. He's played in punk and rockabilly bands, and so the whole thing's about them telling road stories. Which everybody fucking loves a good story, let alone if comedians and or musicians. Kyle was just a musician. Mike Wiebe, both. Frontman for the Gamblers comic. JT, just a comic. They're like, hey, if you know of a local musician that wants to do this. So I asked around, and people came up like, how about Sam? Like, he's a cool dude. And they're like, talking to bartender friends. I go, oh, he's got some stories too, because you're a musician. You've told these stories to your friends at the bar, and everybody fucking loves a good story. You got a good story.
It doesn't
good
matter
narrative.
how many punchlines are in it.
No.
Just tell a story.
And if the person is like, naturally a little funny themselves, there's going to be natural tags along the way. They're not consciously thinking of it, and it probably ends with a great conclusion. And I finally was able to convince Sam to do it. And he went on for 20 minutes, told 2 stories.
I was there.
Fucking murdered.
When he went on Lola's stage?
No, this is
is way before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was great. And he came afterwards. He's like days, weeks later, even to this day, he's like, that's the most nervous I've ever been on stage. Because he didn't have a guitar in his hands. He didn't have a band behind him. He can go on stage and play guitar and sing. That's fine. Talk a little bit. But it's just him on stage, exposed. No instrument to fall back on. But he fucking murdered. He had friends in the audience, but still, he knew how. I'm like, dude, just tell the stories you've told hundreds of times already. You're just telling it in a much bigger arena.
I'd always assume they would just be just as comfortable, but you don't see that side of it. Because if I was given a guitar or a mic and told to sing a fucking song, I'd be like, ooh,
I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know.
I've had dreams where that's happened, but like in there, I don't know how to form a chord, but for some reason, and thanks to dream magic, it's coming out. I'm playing a song. I don't know what I'm doing.
And then you go buy a guitar for $800 and the amp for $200 and try to play. And you're like, oh,
and eventually sell them both for $300.
I gave them to my daughter. It's like, here, learn this shit.
You get it much younger than I did. Maybe you can do something.
I got a drum set sitting in the garage that's not set up. I'm like, I'm going to learn this one day.
I'm gonna set it up one piece at a time and just work that out.
Yeah, my oldest son is actually percussion right now, so I've been trying to convince him to get better and better and better because he's been doing it through all middle school. So he starts high school next year, and that's why I have the drum set because I was like, man, I'm gonna do it with you because I always started that's where I started was like messing with drums, and then I got into guitar a little bit, and I never got good at it. It's funny because when Nelson Vavella, my boy from Wildspeaker, we were like I think 11 or 12, and his dad, they're very very humble Hispanic people from Mexico. They don't speak really good English, but they came in, they worked their asses off, and his dad worked every fucking day so he could do like guitar lessons. And
wow,
I used to go a couple times with him just to kind of be the poor kid that could watch. You know what I'm saying?
And now he plays in a band with a very limited appeal.
I fucking love it, dude. I love the fact that he does that. And he's also a fucking ESL teacher for the school of Fort Worth, man. So like he teaches all the time, and then from there,
he's smart because I was talking to Matt, the guy who plays drums and Wildspeaker. I'm just those guys. One thing I love about those guys that play, guys and gals in those bands that play like Wildspeaker, grind bands, underground, crusty hardcore bands. Your appeal is only there's a rock solid ceiling to you can go and work your ass off and gain this fan base of those types of people around the world that like you, but your shit ain't catchy. Like there's appeal. Yeah. Like just that.
There's no money there really.
No, there's no money.
It's all about love for what you're doing.
You are hard pressed to make a career. I went and saw back in January Napalm Death and Rubber Gloves in Denton. Napalm Death's probably, if anyone's ever heard of a grindcore band, it's Napalm Death. Much like if anyone, if you've ever heard of a death metal band, it's probably Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
Like those are the 2 biggest bands of those genres. Napalm Death first album is at 87. I'm slightly older than Napalm Death as a band. These guys were 60 or probably 60 something and fucking destroying it on stage. The singer Barney's just fucking going, but they're playing at Rubber Gloves, which if it wasn't too cold, it would have been outside. It was jam packed in Rubber Gloves, but it's not the biggest. Inside's not the biggest venue. Like they weren't playing trees. They have before. They've toured with like the Melvins and shit like that. They can play trees, but it's just like how much, especially these days, how much money are you making off this band? And Napalm Death's been around for a long time.
Well, I guess off merch and everything else too, CDs. I mean, you're making enough to do it.
Yeah,
I know you're
still around.
Signed
you
too.
haven't given up on it, but much like Nelson, it's like it's always good to have like a career.
Oh, that dude has like
steady career. Hey, summer's off, baby. Hey, we booking a tour this summer?
That's what they
I'm
do
still
every
getting
summer.
paid, and I got all the time. So
That's
hopefully.
I love you, Nelson, by the way.
You kicking ass, man.
Yes, you are, bro.
Fucking great.
What does it take, like, besides talent, obviously, to be in a band? Like, How do you meet members? You just start with your friends?
Probably
or-
going to shows. I would
Probably
say
going to
you're at
shows and
shows.
just pick up people.
If you're not in a band, but you're good enough at your instrument, you kind of start talking to people like, oh, I play this, you play that. Or maybe replace a member in a band.
Consistency, like you can actually show up and be there.
You have to keep rehearsing. And hopefully you have a space you can do that. A garage, a living room. I've done 2 interviews for my podcast, the Breckinridge podcast, at Pro Rehearsal Studio in Dallas. It's off Commonwealth and 35. My buddy, he goes by Regis, which is his last name. His name's Ryan Regis, but he's also got this fucking bass voice. Motherfucker, he's in good shape. The only thing I have on this asshole is hair.
He's bald.
His hair was receding in high school, but he had a beard then. Just like, hey, how's it going? Just his bass voice, and it's like, you son of a bitch. He's a bass player. He's studio engineer. Wow. His dad tours with. His dad was just got back from South America with the Black Crowes.
Oh wow.
Routinely, he's Trans-Siberian Orchestra. He's done shit with Kanye, Britney Spears. Anyways, that's the kind of family he comes from.
Is Kanye allowed to be mentioned now? Are we cool?
Oh, he already
I'm just
apologized to the Jews.
I'm just name
Good.
dropping. But so we did an interview at one of the rehearsal spaces at Pro Rehearsal, and so I just did an interview with the singer, this guy Cameron Taylor, who sings for the new metal band. They're a new metal band, ish, alt new metal. We really dived in on this.
The new metal band, like there's new metal.
Oh,
Well,
this
it's a
band
genre
does
of-
a Limp Bizkit tribute set. These guys are that new metal. But we also dive in on
We're so old that Limp Bizkit gets a tribute.
Yeah, do you not seen him? It looks like Guy
my
Fieri
God.
now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, I haven't seen it.
absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't.
But like Cameron was talking
I haven't
about
followed any
how
of them.
like they started in a garage and then a living room, and eventually whoever's house they're at, the mom got tired of them practicing in a living room, so they rented out a rehearsal space. And there's places like Pro Rehearsal where you can and it's all, sometimes a party can pop out of nowhere because you have all these guys in bands. They got their spaces. Though most of those rehearsal spaces are loaded up with liquor, anyways,
Yeah.
and then
I
just
used to
shit
get my
people
weed
bring.
from one.
Yeah.
In Haltom City, right there off of Haltom Road. It's
Okay.
next to the Clown Burger. It's like a whole little studio. It's like UFO Studios or something like
Okay.
that. But like Sharpie, that's where one of their spots was
okay,
at.
yeah.
One time I got them to play me a song in like small square. They were trying some of their new songs. So I had like the drummer, guitar player, the bassist, and then the vocalist behind me. And I'm already fucked up, right? And so I'm just sitting there just like getting
Surround
serenaded
them.
by their music. And
Wow.
they killed it, bro. They killed it. I love Sharpie. Shout out. Chris Perez, man. Great singer.
That's what's up.
They, you have rehearsal spaces there. So now, how they start out, I don't know. I just started going off in this direction. I would assume you like
You have a dream, maybe? You start there.
you go. I would say a lot
How
of
do you
these
come up with
people
a name
meet
for the band? Is it just all by
So
accident?
like,
What you love.
again. Matt Randolph and I talked to Cameron last Wednesday, and then drove to Matt's place and talked to him for the podcast. And Matt, so he joined Wild Speaker, but also the other band that he's in called Verrukt. They made it up. It's a made up name. VORRUKT, and there's an umlaut, the 2 dots over the U or the O. We got
like Uber. Like how they have the 2 little dots over the U.
I know. I was like, is that a reference? No, he's like, it's just a made up name. That way, that's a unique name. Now you can think of like a unique name like Wild Speaker. There might not be another band named that, but also it's a Magic the Gathering reference. So you got that, nerdy,
To Garuk, the Wild Speaker, just so you guys know.
Oh, okay.
I know. But thank you for that.
That's a green mana.
So you can-
Planeswalker.
You can go in. You can create a
You
name.
just made that up.
No, it's not. It's 100%
Is that a
true.
real thing?
Yeah.
You really-
It's a Planeswalker. It's one of the. Sorry.
I even asked Cameron. I was like, so I'm like, I've always asked some people. I'm like, the name is Secret of Boris, and I was like, where'd that come from? And sometimes if you ask my buddy Regis, who used to play bass in the band, I was like, so Secret of Boris, where'd that come from? And their gut reaction is like, it's a secret. I'm like, oh, okay, wah, wah, wah. I get it. But then so Secret of Boris used to be called Lame. But and they're from Irving as well. Well, most of them used to be. So
Why not?
and then it basically came from, so it was Lame, and then when bands write a song or someone in the band writes a song, they usually just give it a name. It's not the official name. It's just like, here's just apparently like the band Seven Dust, for example, they have a song called Waffle. That was
nothing to do with the song.
That was just the working title, and they're just like, fuck it, that's the title of the song. Because whatever, But
some metal bands are lazy. So yeah, it's a song.
They're one of their guitar players, Taylor. I think it was by Paragraph. I'm gonna interview him at some point. He's a cool dude. He wrote a song that was based off Secret of Mana, the video game, and I think Boris was the name of like his cat or something like that, or someone else's cat or something. And
what
then
if that's a reference to Saints? What was that movie?
You're talking about
Boondock
Saints. Yeah,
Boris. Yeah,
Boris.
because Boris and he killed the cat.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was like.
But,
that's what I put together.
But he goes through how it became, they're called Lame, and then there's a song. Working title was Secret of Mana, or the working title was Secret of Boris. I think that's what he said. And then eventually, other members left. Some, he changed members, maybe sound a little bit, and then the new band was Secret of Boris.
Yeah.
So they come from. I love those kind of, that's why I like talking. You can ask these people in a 5-minute conversation, but that's what I like about podcasts. You can really get into the
The biggest
ins and
thing
outs.
about that though is I think for a fan of any band, like if I want to become a fan of Wild Speaker, like I am, right? I'm going to dig into their music, their lyrics. I like that. I like digging in. I want to find the references. I want to find their point of views. I want to know the band based on their music, because any band just coming out to play songs that doesn't reference anything of what they are, then what's the fun in that? Like, what is your fan base getting out of your music, honestly? Like, I hate catchy shit. I like rather have, that's why I've always, like me and you, we both love AFI. I love fucking Davey Havoc. Love the lyrics in it, because the lyrics really do reference so much, and they do dig into an actual point of view, I think. And that's something that like really hits hard when it hits close. So in music retrospect, like I love people that think more about what they're doing when they name their band, when they do their lyrics, when they actually name, like they dig into what they're putting out there. So say the consumer can dig into what they're actually buying.
Oh, I hate when shit's just so basic, and you're just, it's catchy. I get it, and I hate shitty band names.
Yeah,
I had this theory that new metal, like you have bands like new metal bands, for example, Limp Bizkit, Korn, Linkin Park. So I think some bands are limited. Okay, it's like the local new metal, possibly new metal band title. They have 3 things, which probably means they won't succeed. They have a number in their band, like
311.
Well, no, that's just it's a word,
okay.
Word or words plus a number, or maybe just one word, like something stupid, like something with throw the number 13 for no reason. Okay, probably not get anywhere with that. You have the word theory in there. Like you might make it somewhat, but nothing.
Theory of a Dead Man, right? That was
yeah, but who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about that? I know, and that's the
I
thing.
don't know any of their songs, but I know the band.
Exactly, and that's what came in my head when I said Theory. I'm like, Theory of a Dead Man, but I don't know.
One of their songs.
The Eagle played them a long time, but who gives a fuck about the Eagle? No one, because it's not around anymore.
It's the Freak.
Yeah, or Project. Rappers not excluded. Project Pat. So. Because, and I can think of like, okay, there was Project 86. They're kind of like a harder POD in the Christian alt rock thing, which I was a fan of them. They're probably not a bad band, but whatever. Theory.
Whatever.
Fuck them. Fuck your Christian beliefs.
I remember going with an old coworker at Best Buy to see our friend's band. They're called Aftermath Theory. And I was just like, that is such a local band name.
In Theory, you remember them?
And there's like parentheses around N. So again, that's a local band though, right?
Yeah, it's a local band.
I've seen their name on flyers, probably at Pro Rehearsal, or the number in there. And I'm like, okay, so I say this, you know what Linkin Park's first band name was? Remember their first album?
Oh God, I have it. It's right there. I can't think of it.
Okay, so they Hybrid Theory.
Yes, thank you.
That was but then they changed their name to Linkin Park, which is not that like Hybrid Theory sounds more metal and more of like a rock metal-y kind of band name than Linkin Park.
Yeah, because they're like
guess what?
Rap metal.
Yeah, but maybe they would not have gotten as big if they're called Hybrid Theory. That just became the name of the first album. Then they changed to Linkin Park. Korn. Like we all we're talking about music. You say the word corn, you picture the K, you picture the backwards R, you picture the font, and you start thinking Jonathan Davis, and you start hearing it. Before the band Korn existed, corn was the food. That was it.
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit. That's like
Gross.
I see a soggy biscuit.
That before they were a band, Limp Bizkit was the jerked off on biscuit that an unfortunate guy had to eat. Well, maybe it's real, maybe it's an urban myth, whatnot.
Well, everything
But
stems
that's why
from some kind of
that's
truth.
a name.
At
It was
some
just
point, there
this
was
gross
something.
game that bored dudes played or something like that. You know,
Bored guys.
I don't know why
Hey,
they
you want to
played
play
that.
some Limp
I'd have
Biscuit
to be
later,
like,
bro?
Or maybe
No,
that's
I
how
do
they
not. Thank
settled
you,
a
though.
bet. I don't know.
I'm coming first, motherfucker.
No, Kevin Bacon wasn't that. I challenge you to a Limp Bizkit.
Oh my god.
I
We went from duels to
concede.
Limp Biscuits.
Well, it is a duel technically,
But,
who wins? The
So
first finisher?
how did that Limp Biscuit theory thing work again? Like, was it like the last one to come on a biscuit had to eat it
Yeah,
or something?
yeah.
Like
The
that? Was
last
that it?
one.
last one to come?
The
I heard
last
about it in high school.
So it was the
mind you,
last
a
one.
million
So the
years
guy
ago.
that had one, I'm like, first of all, you have to all have an erection at the same time. Not just that, you all have to start masturbating at the same time.
I'm winning. I can do
And
it.
then
I believe you. I believe you're
the
you're sick enough to
unfortunate
do it.
guy who let's just say for the sake of this, who has more, can last longer during
More stamina.
during sex. Okay, so like one, you have to. So maybe the guy who's most excited about the prospect of jerking off in front of other guys, he's lucking out because
Yeah.
he's going to go. He's
He's
going
gonna-
to shoot
yeah, he's
first
He's
or
like, you
second.
didn't know I was gay the whole time, guys?
Yeah, and he's just like, yeah. What? Do you have to stand there and watch the rest? I don't know. I don't know those rules. Can you leave now?
If
make
you're,
it-
I mean, if
oh,
you're the
if you don't
last
like
one,
the
but-
person-
Your eyes have to stay open.
Ooh, yeah.
if you're the
Eyes locked.
last
Yeah.
one, but like your stamina's really high and like you haven't finished, do you have to continue until you
No,
finish
no,
and then eat
no.
it?
You
Or-
eat that shit while you're finishing.
While you're finishing.
Yeah.
How
You act like you played this game before, like, you know enough
what
about
I'm saying
this.
is, if I was playing this game and I say I came
If I was
first, right,
playing
and there's
this
like
game
4
and he
other
knows all
people
the
that are
rules.
still jerking off, right? But say I'm cool with these two guys, I'm gonna make it really hard for these two guys to come, right? So I'm gonna start helping this guy. I'm just playing.
I believed
got you,
every word
bro.
you just told me.
I got you.
You're just going to start
You just-
jerking him off too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
How did? Oh wow, you can't.
You guys
fast.
aren't
That was-
finished yet? Come on,
Damn
man.
it.
It's been forever.
Haha, bitch.
I was
didn't
hoping
like
you'd go
you
soft
anyway.
when my hand was on there. And shit. No. I would do that. I would just like cup the
I would
balls and
rather
just
play.
keep going. That
I would
way,
rather
I'm
play
just,
Russian roulette.
They should put that in the new Squid Games. That should be one of the challenges.
I think
Limp
you
Bizkit
should.
and Squid
If you
Games.
lose, everyone else has come, and you have to go. I think just like fuck it, make it as gross as possible. I think you have to come and then eat it. Just the
But
complete
what kind
the
of biscuit?
cycle.
Like, are we talking about
What
a
do you say to
Popeye's
inseminate your
biscuit?
wife
Or are we
if
talking
you
about
lose?
like
You
a,
didn't
I
inseminate
don't
your
know.
wife with some
Oven,
biscuit.
I don't know.
because
Go get one at
the
Popeyes.
biscuit
Who
matters.
cares?
Because if it's a Popeye's
No,
biscuit, you're
I'll
dead.
eat
If
it.
it's going
I'll
to be
eat it.
something like a Red Lobster biscuit, it might be at least good.
You don't like
gonna be
Popeye's
so
biscuits?
salty.
How dare you?
What about breadsticks? We just come on breadsticks. We can just do that.
Let's go to-
Because in
I
Olive
don't
Garden,
know.
breadsticks
Stop
are really
at Olive
good. So we
Garden
can
real
just-
quick.
But
Get us
still,
some
those
breadsticks.
I don't know those 3 band names. Who like you just had to own it, and they all 3 of those as disgusting and as just a food and a park. Literally, they live near Lincoln Park, and
In
we're just
Chicago.
like,
genius. But it worked.
and then they earned it. They made it work, and it's just like I think that's a complete opposite of Metallica. Wow, what kind of band is that? A metal band. Easy peasy.
The Doors.
Alcoholica.
Megadeth.
That's what they used to be called.
Probably a metal band. Like
Power Man 5000, obviously.
what they have a number.
Yeah, I just thought
Yeah.
about that.
Hey,
That
they
Anyone
do
is
have
throw
a
us a
number.
new
He's
modern
making a
thing
good
of
point here.
Nepo Baby? Well, he got as far as he could, 'cause that's Rob Zombie's little brother's band. And I had that album, played the fuck out of it.
It's a good album.
You go in with me, yeah, I'll go in with you.
Also, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Oh
Yeah.
shit, Tony Hawk helped so many fucking bands.
Dude, yeah.
Great soundtracks,
Yeah.
great soundtracks.
That's amazing. It opened
But
our
also,
eyes.
Power Man 5000 didn't get too far.
They made it to Tony Hawk for me. So
I think there was a band called Project 13 or something like that. They had they had one album. Luckily, back in the day, I'm just trying to look at it. They didn't even have
Sum
Project
41.
86.
That's another number.
Yeah, but they also really didn't make it. They had one.
Oh,
They had
they
one
got
hit.
pretty big.
It's just like
They had one hit.
it was the early
So,
2000s.
I remember
alternative
this one
punk.
metal band called Pressure 4-5. They didn't really get too big.
I just really got this naming the metal bands down.
I have.
That's where all this originated from. I was asking how you name a metal band, and he was like, "Let me tell you the formula." Now I know.
I know way too
There's gotta be
many. I know way too many fucking new metal. I used to also work at I really dive into the music I like. When I got into new metal, I'm like, what are the new metal bands that I'm not hearing on the radio? So I'd have to, back in that day, maybe go to a website.
Got to go to LimeWire.
The
Download it off your AOL.
The end caps at like Best Buy and Target, where like a record label's just like put our shit out in front, for fans of Limp Bizkit, and there's all these other.
I would just go to City Warehouse and just grab random ones and see what I could get.
Like, when I got into punk, I would look at punk, hardcore, metal. I go to all these record labels.
CDs, didn't you?
Remember the dollar ones they had in the sleeves and shit, dude? You grab like 4 or 5 of those. Just slide them. I got Insecticide from Nirvana that way for free. It was awesome.
What I hate is this one stupid new metal band. There's no importance for me to even talk about it. It's going to bug me.
Just to find the name. Hey, yeah, whoever this band is, I hope you're watching. Fuck you.
Right. I hope your current project is
I've never heard
slightly
them,
better.
Slightly better. Oh, dude, Slightly Stupid's coming soon, by the way.
Oh, I never. I have this thing called the Juggalo Index. Where
do go on.
And I would love to make it like a skit. And I'm a guy that respects Juggalos, but I also
hate them.
I don't hate them. I will make fun of them. Yeah. I don't hate them.
I just dislike them.
They put themselves out there.
No, Juggalo. I fucking respect the fuck out of Juggalos because they are more punk than punk.
I respect a Juggalo in 2023.
Oh yeah,
because now I feel like you were really dedicated. The rest of you guys
know you are idiots.
The rest of you guys fell off.
ICP. Now there was like horrorcore rap and shit like that, but they created. Imagine creating a subgenre.
A whole
like
image too.
Punk, you would be like, oh, it came from England and also New York. Yeah, Sex Pistols, the Damned, the Ramones, also MC5, the early Stooges, Detroit. You can have this great. You can make a documentary out of that. ICP, yeah, they had their influences, of horrorcore rap, the Isham or something.
Well, it started with Inner City Posse, and then they went to the Insane Clown.
And then they're like, Inner City Posse, Insane Clown Posse, we're gonna be clowns and rap about horrific shit. And eventually they kind of went slightly like.
Well, it started with Backyard Wrestling. It started with Backyard Wrestling,
and then they okay,
and then they ended up on WWF.
Well, Backyard Wrestling with the Rap Association.
On ECW.
Yeah.
That's right. No, you're right. They were on ECW.
But then, so horror clown rap, like one, that's crazy. That's our idea, and that's what we're gonna do. And then they did it, and then they have fans that are kind of looking like them, and then they make a name. When you can make a name for your fans, and you're actually kind of serious about it, and everyone has to agree you're serious about it because you've hit critical mass of these fans that are dressed up looking like you, their own variations, and they're juggalos. Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope, that's their names, and your fans are your juggalos. And used to be juggalos and juggalettes, but because they're progressive and inclusive, everyone's just a juggalo now. So, and that's what's crazy is they're inadvertently progressive. They weren't trying to be. They're just like, you know what? Everybody's coming from these different ways. Like, you're all juggalos now. And I was just like, oh, there you go.
They really reached the lower end of people. I think the really like poor white people.
Even punk rockers would shit on them.
When you said it wasn't good music, it was just teenage angst rap.
That's all it was. Teenage angst rap.
That's exactly how I look at it.
Yeah. Good rap, and I say this as someone who's rarely a rap connoisseur, but even I can hear. I'm just like, I don't like this at all. But I'm like, I get why people do. It's something they can relate to, and they're like. The gatherings, like they'll have you have people like Vanilla Ice and Coolio, may rest in peace. Some old kind of flamed out rappers that will come back and got a second life with the Juggalo crowd.
That's not necessarily true because Snoop Dogg was there.
Well, you got Tech Nine.
Tech Nine was there.
Well, Tech
Nine has been
he's
the
best.
Like the thing is, as little as I know about rap, I know Tech Nine's up there with
He's the best. Hands down.
He's always been like in that orbit, just to like just give him a little respectability. It's just like
Tech Nine can do anything now. He could jump on a metal track and then right after that do some hardcore ass fucking rap shit and then like right after that he can go do something. It's just he's so versatile.
Look,
and then he'll open up for ICP. Everyone's just like, oh shit, they just legitimized this as a thing.
And he has a cult following too. He calls his fans technicians.
Nice. I like that. That's a pun I can.
And he even has a like a chant and a motto too.
Well, that's what brings your crowd with
you. His own whoop whoop.
Sort of.
I love that.
It's
That's all. You need something catchy.
Yeah.
Juggalos, like all
Yeah,
right,
this
that
is
flows
how-
off
The
the
Faygo,
tongue.
you gotta have the Faygo and shit, and drink cheap
I
soda.
was talking to
The
someone
little
who's
Hatchet Man T-shirt.
apparently Faygo has never liked that ICP utilizes their soft drink. One, I'm like, I think publicly they have to be,
But they like
that.
being sold in Dollar Tree.
Yeah, no,
At least it's getting sold.
I think publicly, even though like in their later years, ICP's been like I know way too much about some things. Like when they revealed the
It's okay to know
sixth
things.
Joker card. Don't ask.
We were all supposed to go to Shangri-La. This is bullshit.
The message
I
behind
forgot about that.
apparently the message behind ICP this entire time was just follow God. So they're not as like dangerous as they used to be. But I was talking to someone who was like way into ICP, and they're like, yeah, Faygo doesn't like how they've been utilizing their product. I'm like, first of all, they weren't doing like, they were just showering, they were drinking it, showering their fans with it, and giving you all this free publicity. But my theory is Faygo has to be like that publicly, because like we don't want to be associated with ICP
PR.
as nicer as they are these days.
Privately, they're cheering while their stocks go
I
up.
want to say privately, they're kind of like, you guys got like a warehouse somewhere? We're going to send a truck.
Yeah, because where are they getting all the Faygo?
Well, the gatherings, they
Well,
have to.
You can buy it, it's cheap, but also think
Dollar
about
Tree.
all the free marketing that is. So I want to say that ICP is just has all the free Faygo they want for the rest of their life.
They should.
feel like-
Even experimental flavors. Yeah.
I feel like what they should have did was they should have came out with the ICP flavor of Faygo.
See, I think Faygo, maybe smartly, has probably been like, we don't want to be.
We'll hold on to that one for later.
They are
maybe.
entrenched. They are synonymous with ICP. There's no getting out of that. So I bet they're kind of like, well, we could lean into this, but let's just be safe. They're probably just being safe and just not as much as.
Because you got to remember the cancel culture. If they really go back and listen to a lot of these ICP songs, any of the fucking psychopathic records, I mean, some of these are severe. Like, remember when Eminem got like fucked off because like he did a track where like a girl was getting killed in the back of his trunk and shit like that? That's like every song I see.
It's a great song,
yeah.
by the way.
It is a great song, but I'm just saying like that look at the time, like you're gonna really promote your soda towards that and then push
But
it to
the thing
kids
is
and then.
Well, so look at it
I
now.
like them because
like,
juggalettes
look
were
at the-
whores back then. It was amazing. It was great.
But look at the ads they have now on some of the shit they have now. You can watch a police shooting and their Pringles ad pops up. So it's like, what's the difference between angsty ass fucking teenage rap music
you
that
really want me to
sucks
tell you?
ass and then associating it with the drink? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
poorly placed ads are everywhere. Like,
We
you
got
got
rap
ads
shit
on
now.
Pornhub. Like, come on.
I think it's just best. Like Faygo doesn't need to. Like they're crazy. Is you learned about Faygo from ICP. I never saw it in a store.
Exactly
This was
my point.
way back when. Like when
That part. I
early
never knew
2000s.
Faygo was a thing until ICP.
Early 2000s, you had some kids. They might wear a Marilyn Manson shirt, and then one day they're wearing an ICP shirt, and they might still wear both. They like both, but like, and then maybe you learn about ICP and you learn about this thing called Faygo. I never saw it in a store. Early 2000s, and then I don't know when. Let's say 2010ish. I don't know. You saw it in 7-Elevens,
And Big Lots.
Big Lots,
Big
Dollar
Lots.
Tree.
Thank you. I was
was
trying
Big
to think.
Lots.
It's Big Lots.
That's where we go when we were
their
younger.
distribution has grown. Who knows? Exponentially.
All
To where I
thanks
see
to
it.
them, but then they didn't
juggalos,
Can I
go to
see
Big
people
Lots.
buy it?
But they
no
didn't
pun
get the
intended.
recognition.
Get it?
That's what
I
I'm
said I
saying.
see people buy it. I did not mean to do that.
my god!
People
what you
buy
did there.
Faygo
Nice.
now, whether or not they probably like ICP. It's probably because they're like, oh, I love me some Mountain Dew. Oh,
Oh, you're telling me? Yeah.
oh,
It can't be the cotton candy flavored fucking Faygo that you love so much.
it's one. They have so many flavors.
They have so many flavors. Their orange one is the like.
I've
the
never
tits.
had it because
Orange.
I try to care about this temple.
I used to be
That's why I
running
smoke
active
Joji
juggalo
cigarettes.
back in the day. But then I turned 15 and I kind of got off of it. Like I was like, I don't need to sing about it anymore.
I don't
got
know,
nothing.
man.
No,
I don't
need
think
Yeah,
that-
yeah. Who needs ICP? That's not
I
my
feel
outlet.
like they could have at least given them the shout out. I feel like Faygo could have been like, hey, well, let's make up a drink. It's
I
an
think
ICP
I
drink.
think if
Call it clown piss or something for all I give a fuck.
I
But
think
the
just
thing
because
is,
of
it
the
could have been a-
origins of ICP and how edgy and scary they were at the beginning, I think Fago was just like, like, no. And then, well, maybe, they're like, oh, like,
Do you imagine being a shitty soda and you're so fucking bougie you won't let some.
Well, you got to remember, Marilyn Manson was being attacked back then. That's when fucking Eminem was being attacked back then on the content of the music they were singing and making kids go crazy. That's when Grand Theft Auto was like, oh my God, kids are going and shooting people up and robbing people of their cars because of a video game. That's when.
You're right, because before video games, that never happened.
Yeah.
It was like back in the day, like, I think it was like Tommy Hilfiger was like.
Well, he does races.
Oh yeah,
That's a little different.
That too.
That's a little different than selling
these rap guys are doing what? Like, yeah, you can see the logo in the music video. It's like, oh, how dare they?
I know. I don't want them wearing our clothes, is what he said.
But I would not be surprised. I want to
word.
say at some point, Fago, like, because ICP's got to retire at some point. Hey, they're still going strong to this day.
They sell off a lot of merch.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, they're probably still making money off of that.
And
they had a warehouse.
They made a couple of movies.
Did they
I've
really?
Seen,
Yeah, dude, don't.
There's big money.
Now I'm
There's
interested.
Big Money Hustlers, and then they made a
Big Money Hustlers.
Big Money Hustlers, which sounds like that sounds like something ICP could star in, like their own kind of Cheech and Chong, and then they made a western called Big Money Rustlers, which is. I've only seen minutes
I love
of
the
either
creativity.
These. And you know what's great? They do star in it as they
names.
should, and they're still wearing the makeup.
Yep. 100%.
And that's what's so great.
It's like a Western, but they're coming in with full face paint.
They got the hat.
Yeah.
They got the boots, the chaps, the cowboy
all in.
hats,
Like,
the
I really
spurs,
wanna
and let
watch
it go.
Hey, there's a lot of tits in it too, so I don't mind.
That makes sense.
I'll watch it by myself.
Yeah,
Dude.
yeah.
I don't want my kids to see it.
Don't. Don't.
ICP is not for the kids.
Until
Unlike
they're 13.
Wu-Tang.
Until they're 13.
They're not
right?
for the kids.
Then it's okay.
I just forgot all about the ICP stuff until y'all brought it up.
Dude, it's crazy.
I have put them on shuffle before on Spotify. I'm just like, let's just see what happens. There was one thing I liked, something with and it featured someone else in there too. So part of me is just like, all right, I'm pretty sure maybe this guy made this beat. And it was like weird. It wasn't like a standard ICP song. And my buddy Josh, name's Josh McClain. He's a stand-up comic, but also a drummer. So he's in a two-piece folk punk band, and they, with his friend Brendan, both great fucking guys. And so Josh, he's grew up in Memphis his whole life. He was a drummer for this new metal band. Fits the theory. They went okay. Like if there was like your top three, they at their high point, they're in like the top 10 new metal bands of them. They're called Primer 55.
Oh, it's a number though.
Yeah,
it's a
there's the number.
So they only got so high.
the number.
Again, it's a working theory. But he was one of their drummers. They went through plenty of drummers, but he was one of their drummers. That's always been like a funny joke. Just like, hey, how's Primer doing? He's like, I'm not in that anymore. But he is unapologetic. Now he's in a folk punk band. He likes all kinds of music. He can talk about Napalm Death, death metal,
Folk punk?
Hey,
Oh,
don't
two-piece.
fucking hate it.
And they're
Until
called-
you
No,
listen to it.
And they're
Why
called
did you immediately
heels.
assume I hate it? I'm just curious as to
Oh.
what folk punk is.
Well,
I'm
you know what
not
folk
hating
is, right?
anything. Yeah,
You know, like
folk
you ever
music.
listen to like Decemberist, Fleet Foxes?
No, I don't.
It's punk made on with the guitar and drums, and
Okay.
they're not playing like too many power chords. Anyways,
Thank you. That's called a description of what I was asking.
so they're called
thank you.
heels, which is great for a band name. But also, Brennan and Josh are huge into wrestling. They love it, and I think Brennan
Like real
also
wrestling or like
real wrestling.
No, so you mean like the
Oh
leotard?
no, sorry.
So like the
professional
earmuffs
wrestling.
and all that.
Professional wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Huge fans of that. Both, and that's what And even when I watched wrestling as a kid, I didn't know what a heel was.
So they're
It's
the
just a
type
bad
that
guy.
cried when the Undertaker retired, right?
Probably. Retired like a real moment. Oh, probably, absolutely. I would not doubt that. When they stayed at my house one time, they were both. They were both just sleeping on the floor. We had a couch, and they're like, "No, we're good." And I was watching TV, and they were like, just had their had their sleeping bags out, and we gave them all the pillows and blankets they could use. And Josh was just sitting there, was watching TV with me. He's like, "Hey, Brennan." He's like, "Yeah, I love you, buddy." He's like, "I love you too, man." And Brennan on his phone, I was like, "Hey, Josh." He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Is Brennan watching wrestling highlights on his phone?" He goes, "Oh, he absolutely fucking is." And also they love ICP. And that's one thing I love about Josh is he's in a folk punk band, has this crazy background and everything, but unapologetically still a juggalo. Just he's like, "I love this shit." He goes, "I know it's awful. I just fucking love it."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what's hot. So if you can find more people like those kind of juggalos, and I would love for his band to like play on The Gathering or something at some point. They may not be get
The same
most
John, yeah,
fans.
but, like-
But the Gathering is branched out. They have like metal bands there all the time.
That makes so much sense, man. I always wanted to go, but then I didn't at the same time.
I would love to eventually do comedy at the Gathering, but I would need to be a popular comic, but also
No, fuck that. Who cares? Just go burn the whole crowd down.
they do have a comedy section at the Gathering.
Oh man,
Do they
let's sign
really?
up.
Yeah,
Let's sign up, bro.
Every year, and I want to say maybe if they still do this, I have a few years to catch up on. When the Gathering of the Juggalos would come out, Psychopathic Records, which is their record label, they would put out like a 20-minute infomercial
Here's
promoting
his
the Gathering.
video. I didn't bring my stuff in here, but you can watch it on my phone. Here's a video of a guy that did this not too long ago, actually, and I think he likes ICP, and he's doing this backyard wrestling thing. I showed it on the last podcast, but we didn't actually get it on here. But here it is, right here.
Happy Halloween, motherfuckers!
So I'll let y'all
This
kinda
is Superhuman TV show. Today I'll be jumping onto the Halloween of Carnage. This is for the
I may have seen it.
Juggalettes. Do not try this at home, and I hope you like it.
Yeah, he was on Tosh.0. He got a redemption.
He said, "Whoa."
Oh yeah, I've seen. Oh,
He always jumps off like really like not high surfaces.
and then it hurts.
No, it gets better though because he's got like a round two he's gonna do on something else.
Okay.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
the clip I
It's
saw was
the
just that.
grand finale right
Is
here.
that barbed wire?
Yeah, in wood.
Jesus.
Happy Halloween!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And this is why I don't want to go to a gathering because that's the fans you got to talk to.
What's
one of my
happening in that
favorite
video
videos.
happens every 2 minutes at a Gathering, most likely. And so the Gathering has these, they're like 20 minutes long. And you can go back like probably 15, 20 years of these infomercials. It's so great. Set aside a couple hours and just watch. Get really high and just watch these. Because it goes through what the Gathering is, every infomercial, and I think that Gathering to some degree, because it's such a hodgepodge of interests and themes, but they try to have like a theme for the Gathering. It could be like apocalyptic neon retro future kind of thing, or I don't want to say like country and western because that, but like they have a theme, and it's very apparent in the infomercial. And
I have seen one of the infomercials.
then you have ICP, but then they have maybe a Sugar Slam, who's this like probably the hottest juggalette. So she got, or they had this other guy who's like a DJ or something. They have these hosts for the infomercial, and Violent J and Shaggy come in at some point and do. So they go through that. It's full of these terrible jokes, but they are informing you of the Gathering, this year's Gathering's festivities. And then at some point, what I like it for is they go through all the acts that are there, but you see like, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds of a music video of obviously ICP or, not Twisted these days because Twisted and ICP have, their beef.
Oh, they got beef?
Because they were like the second biggest
Yeah.
psychopathic band.
Yeah.
But the fans don't care. The fans will go support both. But you could see, I've always thought it was funny, the Axe Murder Boys. But you see clips of these videos. So I'm like, I don't have to watch all these music videos. I don't have to go find them. They're all here in this infomercial for me to watch and consume. So you get to see snippets of these music videos. And then you get to see like clips of like the JCW, their wrestling thing, and then also the bands, not just the rappers, but the bands that are on there and the comedians. So instead of just looking at a website, you get a fun infomercial, but also get to watch parts of music videos that I wouldn't see.
I don't know. That's not how I envision their gathering. I envision their gathering more like Burning Man, but with just like a lot of face paint and Fago.
Oh no, they show clips of that and everything too.
I hate the range,
obviously
though.
in previous gatherings.
You hate raves?
No, the range. You think about it, man. Like, look at like the male fans on the Juggalo side.
Yeah.
And they can look all the way down to Sling Blade.
Yeah.
Right?
Most
But
of-
then you go to like the female side, and I'm telling you, get like fucking supermodel status of some of these girls that are fans. And then you get like this, like, of course you get the.
So all you have to
Jabba the
do, all you have
Hutts.
to do is just be the nicest looking juggalo guy there.
Not really, man. Like, honestly,
that's all
like,
it takes?
look, you'll see the
Oh,
range of the
like-
couples. I'm talking about the couples, man.
I think you're applying too much logic.
Probably.
I think it's just something that has to be witnessed and experienced. and then you can maybe navigate. I think Shawn has more of an insight than we do.
I think so too, because I don't
Just-
know shit about any.
And then the
like,
thing is,
I know
juggalos
that you
can
have
look
gatherings. I know
all
that.
you
I
know,
don't know
all
about
types.
I'm just saying, like the range of like the physical, like you can't tell sometimes like who's going to really be a juggalo to who's not,
That's true.
unless you see him badged.
A lot of closet
Or you see a
juggalos out
hatchet
there.
man tattoo
That's the
literally
only way you'll
on
know.
their hand.
Yeah.
Which I've seen plenty of.
neck typically or the leg.
Especially-
I've seen the neck and the leg.
West
and the
Fort
arm.
Worth has a good population of
huge
juggalos.
amount of juggalos.
Oh yeah, it's white trash, but like juggalos themselves are
A
not
lot
like
of respect with each other.
yeah, and, like they're not.
I
Like,
just want to see a juggalo that's also a banker.
yeah, that's
Like, that's what I want to see.
You won't.
I want to see a juggalo that just happens to run
There
If
finance.
is
you have
a
a
chance.
hatchet man tattooed you most likely have a felony. They're
If
not
you-
a banker.
like my buddy Josh, he is an excellent cook. Like he's ran not like a full on restaurant. There's a music venue in Memphis called High Tone, and they had a kitchen for a while. And that was his kitchen. He was the only. His wife might step in here and there, but that was his kitchen. He runs like a kitchen and like a deli supermarket place.
Okay, I
in
can see a
Memphis.
juggalo running a kitchen.
Oh,
in a
and
deli.
he's fantastic. He makes amazing fucking food.
But I just want to see like the president of the United States
And his wife's
that has
the
like a
breadwinner.
hatchet tattoo.
No, kitchen makes sense because there's kitchen in prison. I mean, something that's nothing that has in prison that's outside
No
of
drug
here.
tests, no background checks.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And maybe a decent reference, or you just have enough kitchen experience. They're like hired. You know,
Yeah.
I just, you can't associate
Or
juggalos
none.
with
It's
racist people. That's a
too much.
huge separate, and I hate how they get put together sometimes.
This like Mediterranean place. They have a pizza place. It's called New York Pizza, and the place called New York Eats. And it's a lot of like Mediterranean food. I want to say most, when I gone there, there's like a Middle Eastern person ringing me up. Maybe it's the owners as well. But I remember, I'm not sure now, but back in the day, I remember in the kitchen, I definitely saw a guy with the Hatchet Man logo. And I was like, oh, sweet, Juggalos made my food. Awesome. It's good food. I like what?
He's like, it's
you
good
saying
food.
they can't
Please don't murder
follow
me.
a recipe? So yeah, of course they can.
Didn't they do like this giant ban on juggalos? Or no. They labeled them a gang.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, we're
Yeah,
labeled
I
a
remember
gang.
they labeled
That was
them
like
a gang
2005.
Yeah, a long
2006
time
when they did
ago.
that.
And then they went in front of Congress or something. And they
Because
were
it was
like,
the
we're
whole
not a fucking gang.
Yeah, well, because the whole cult following juggalos, you're calling
Yeah.
them juggalettes, so it's more of a cult thing than it is actually
Yeah.
a gang thing.
Oh, if that's the case,
Well,
then
according to
Swifties are a gang too.
Swifties.
Taylor Swift fans.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
So,
they're very
yeah.
much.
Oh,
So
they're
very
the
much a
worst
gang.
gang.
And if anyone's a fucking cult leader, it's Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
With the
They'll
way
marry you, take
some
half your shit.
comics talk about her.
Those guys are ruthless.
There's a specific like Taylor Swift tribute comedy show. Yeah. I want to say it wasn't the first one that happened
Just
this
telling
year.
you that it made me laugh.
What's there to be funny about? Just like,
And
hey, Taylor.
I overheard this one girl was like trying to crowdsource some jokes. I was just like, really? You're a super fan. You shouldn't. This should be personal for you. But her set was about a specific album. I'm like, is this comedy, or y'all just go up there crying about how much you love this, probably billionaire? Which I love that you have people that again, you're
What about
with the
Beyonce's Beehive?
broad book,
Wouldn't that be a
broad
gang?
brush
Is
here.
that
Yeah.
a thing?
Yeah.
Beehive? I didn't
Yeah,
know.
the Beehive. That's Beyonce fans.
Oh.
That's what they call themselves. She's Queen Bee and they're the Beehive.
Now you would need to find people that like
Makes sense.
hate capitalism and
Illuminati.
billionaires, but then also in the next breath, extol Taylor Swift or Beyonce. You'd have to like really cherry pick to find these people. But it's, generally, I'm not saying there's too many like right-wing populist Taylor Swift fans, but okay. When these people are just like, capitalism sucks. We need to tax the rich more. We need all these like probably left-leaning socialist policies. And then it's just like, fucking love Taylor Swift. And it's just like, hey, if it was up to you, she would have like $2 million most.
She'd be paying you
So,
to see
According
her.
to this, the ICP has a net worth of about $35 million.
That makes
Hey,
sense.
and they've earned every fucking penny of that. And that's
I
now.
just thought it was weird that
And they've been a band
how
for,
they
like,
hated
30
the
years.
rich, but then became rich. It was,
Well, yeah, but they came rich like from the underbelly of the society. They didn't like go and like become popular with the whole world. They
That's
dug on to
true.
poor
I mean-
people. They got rich off poor.
yeah,
But they were
basically.
poor.
Yeah, fair
And
enough.
if anything, they've treated
more
their fan
poor.
base with the utmost respect. And then they created their own record label, which I know they're on a major label for a couple albums. I think they're
Is it
on
Paramount?
Oh, is that a record label?
No, not Paramount. It starts with a P. I can't fucking think of the name.
Periscope?
Not psychedelic. I know it's psychopathic, but there was another one that was like a fucking. I'm gonna shut up.
Oh well, they were definitely on a major, but then they created their own record label, which they can obviously put their records on, and all these other people, and then they created like a fucking fest.
I remember when they did that song they did with 3 6 Mafia. That's when I was really like, yeah, I can fuck with this.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was a huge 3 6 fan back in the day.
I'm still trying to figure the name out. I'm like, God damn it.
Of the
I was going to say Periscope, but then I was
Periscope.
like, no,
I said
Interscope.
Interscope,
Were they on
maybe.
Interscope?
I thought it was Interscope.
Because I think
or
Limp Bizkit
something
was
like
on them.
I said Periscope.
I thought it was Interscope was like their first album.
think-
They
I
did
don't
the
even
Forgotten
think that's a
Freshness
thing.
albums.
That sounds right. Interscope, because Interscope was taking risks
I don't know how to spell, though.
with like new metal bands, and
Yeah.
also want to
I
thank.
was just looking to see if it might be on here.
Thanks to this podcast, I listened to about 90 songs. I think No Doubt's first couple albums were on Interscope.
Who knows?
Well, that was all the ska coming out of fucking Cali back then.
But no, like, oh no, they've earned their shit. Like, okay, and ICP, they may have gotten, they had maybe had one song get on radio that also had to be edited, like Taylor Swift, and they weren't on TRL back in the day.
No
they were
MTV
not.
spots.
I will not I don't think they should be taxed at all.
What was the first ICP song you heard?
I want to say it was something about a game show.
So the
Great Milenko.
It was on Great Milenko.
Netting game or something like that.
It's the dating game.
Yeah.
The dating
Dun. It's like, and let's meet our next contestant.
It's like
Mine was
I hope she looks
Piggy
like
Pie.
Ricky Lake.
That was the first one. I
and
ever
one of the
heard.
funny edits, like the lyric was like something, put my nuts in your face, but the radio edit was put my nuns in your face.
I'll buy
yeah,
you a
radio
drink
edits
and
always
stir
make
it with
things
my
worse.
dick.
Yeah.
I slide up to the bar. I can't believe how fucking fat you
there
are.
you go. Oh yeah.
If you lost a little weight, you might look like Ricky Lake.
What's funny is I always
God, they were terrible.
was that because I can't remember who's who. Was that the fat one that was rapping that? Because that's funny.
Yeah. So Jay and then and Shaggy. Shaggy is the skinny red hair,
Okay.
and Jay's the fat one. Looks like Guy Fieri with the clown makeup.
Oh
on.
yeah. Oh, that's what's so great. I totally forgot about that. I've seen those memes. Yeah. Oh god.
He does. Yeah, Piggy Pie was the first
I love
song I ever
talking
heard.
about
There's,
ICP way more than I like listening to them.
Exactly.
Their mythos is so vast and rich, and they're so fucking American that I'm like, only in America can these fucking dudes that came out. And what's funny is that area, that I don't know how many blocks, that area gave the world ICP, Eminem, and Kid Rock. And you could
Yeah, thanks a lot for that.
Yeah. But you know what? Hey, it's America, baby. You take the good, you take
You
the
lose
bad.
Kurt Cobain, we give you this. Like,
Right.
That's what we got.
Eminem, like all came from shitty Detroit.
My
I mean,
favorite,
and Kid Rock, you can kind of be like,
My
well,
favorite Detroit story was
middle
when
class.
Eminem tried to battle Kid Rock on the streets. He did. He came up. It's a true story. It was on a what was that, on a documentary I was watching? It's like a YouTube documentary that somebody did, and he came up to Kid Rock. Kid Rock was talking about it, and he came up to him and he goes, "Yo, I want to battle you." Kid Rock was like, "What are you talking about?" Eminem was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna battle you." And he was like, "All right, well, let's hear what you got." And he just started spitting because he just like really fast. And he was like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Well, slow down first, and then you might have something." And then right after that, like he started, really taking rap serious. But I guess,
Yeah, I mean, but it's Kid Rock though too, man. You can't hit
Yeah.
some Southern boy like that and be like, "I'm gonna battle you." Like what, Pokemon, bro? Like what's up?
are we doing Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
I'm gonna fact check myself. I'm pretty sure the Kid Rock thing is sort of ish true, that he is from Detroit. I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure he was. He was in Detroit whenever all that was going on. So I'm just gonna take his word for it and say he was from Detroit.
I'm going to defer to Wikipedia.
Do you remember the song "Miracles" they did though?
Yes.
Do you believe in miracles?
He's like batteries. How do those
Oh, no,
work?
it's magnets.
Magnets. Yeah, I thought it was
How do they
batteries.
work?
Yeah, how do they work?
He says, you ever
so-
seen a giraffe? It looks like a kid drew it.
According to Wikipedia, born in Romeo, Michigan. So there you go.
Yeah.
So I'm equating that somewhat
He was
near
born in where?
Detroit. Romeo, Michigan.
Is that near Detroit?
Suburb.
Suburb
Well,
of Detroit?
is it?
The trailer park in Detroit?
I don't know. It's Michigan. It's good enough for me.
Dude, there's 3 places in Michigan you don't want to go. Typically, it's like Flint, Pontiac, and Detroit.
Or just Michigan
Or just
as
Michigan.
a whole. Like, you just skip the whole state.
Like, what's the point of going somewhere
Like,
cold,
just go-
wet,
just
and
go
poor?
around
I gotta
it.
go.
Are you gonna go eat?
I felt like I offended him like he was from Michigan or something.
Like,
I was
sorry,
oh,
bro.
my bad, bro.
I didn't mean to hurt Michigan
Didn't hurt
bad.
your feelings. I was just
Shit.
I was just saying, you just skip the whole state.
Well, it's been a fun
Same way I
episode.
feel with Illinois. Only because
much-
of Chicago. I just skipped the whole state.
Fuck all the North, by the way. Just all of it sucks.
Just all of it.
It's too cold and wet. I don't give a shit. Like it's
cold and wet.
I live in Texas for a reason. It's warm, ish.
It's warm and wet.
Yeah, and if I don't like the
That's
weather, it
how-
changes.
that's how we like it.
Yeah, global warming hasn't really affected us just yet.
Not yet. It's
Well, everyone forgets that we had like a 10-year drought. Do you remember that shit?
I remember that shit when
Dude,
the
like,
lakes were
Lake
drying
Worth was
up
like
and-
nothing.
Yeah, it was like nothing
Little
there. The
pond.
boats were just hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, dude, like it fucked all of us up. We were all scared, and then now it's like, oh, it's raining too much. Like, just never get either ones.
No, you can never get it.
There's no Goldilocks there. It's just all once. I think it's all
I
agenda
remember-
based. They're like, oh, look, there was a multiple storms that are kind of random. Oh man, the world's ending. We should definitely push this agenda.
I remember when I was in Ohio, I was driving through Ohio and the winds were like stupid bad. And I remember I stopped at a place and I was like, are you guys like getting a tornado or something? Are we gonna? They're like, oh no, this is how it is.
Just windy.
I was like, why? What the fuck? Like, it was like, well, and you know what I mean? Like, when I say windy, I don't mean like, just a little wind that's blowing
push
your hair
you over
around.
shit.
No, it's like, yeah, shoving people off the road windy.
Fuck that, dude. I went to Wyoming one time and it was raining in the summer and it was cold. And I was like, this is stupid. Like this, like cold water, like rain. Like it's like 40 degrees and it's midsummer in Wyoming.
In Wyoming?
Yeah, raining. In the middle
What were
of
you doing in
summer.
Wyoming?
Well, I was driving through the pass to get to Oregon. That's that country fair festival I went to.
You go to
bro.
places that nobody wants to go.
What are you talking about, dude? The
Why
Oregon
the hell would
Country
you wanna
Fair
go to
Festival is
Oregon?
dope as shit. 3 days in Eugene, Oregon, and the fucking like mountainous side of like
Oh.
pine
Just
trees.
keep describing
and shit,
my
dude.
nightmare. Keep doing
And
it.
on massive amounts of acid while I sat there at a drum circle, so everyone's playing drums, having a great time and shit, just fucking losing my
Aren't there
mind.
Amish people out there in Oregon?
Yeah, there's Amish, but there's also like just a bunch of homeless.
There's a big thing about the Amish right now. They're getting cell phones snuck into them by this one guy on TikTok. That's like his whole thing. That's like his whole thing is just
like,
sneaking phones. To
Just,
the
I'm gonna
Amish.
corrupt the Amish. He's like, hey,
literally
look,
does.
it's already saved on Pornhub.
He's
Have fun.
literally does. He's like, I already downloaded all the porn you need. I just
Yeah.
set this right here.
Look, they have
just give me
the
your
sister
$100
porn
and
you
we're done.
like. I promise. They got family pies. You'll love it. Like, check it out.
There's Amish porn.
Well, I mean, no, they don't want to see the same shit they see every day. I'm saying like, but they want to see something they can relate to. So like, hey, look, it's families having sex, incest porn. It's your favorite.
It's your favorite.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Those are your options.
You know, there's the other option is where they bring random people in. Amish do this. They bring random people off the street to come sleep with some of their women, impregnate them, so they can kind of mix out inbreeding.
Could you imagine having
That's
that
smart.
talk with somebody?
If that's the way your society's structured, that's kind of smart.
Well, they put the girl like in
I
a
mean,
complete
it's-
sheet, so you can't see anything besides a hole, and you're just supposed to go in there, do your thing, and leave.
oh, it's like the certain kind of Jewish people that apparently do it with the hole in the sheet, which thanks to Upright Citizens Brigade
Could you
sketch.
imagine
He was like, I can do anything through the sheet.
having
It's
to fuck-
fine. I can eat pork through the sheet, through the hole in the sheet.
That's a
Could you
callback,
imagine
bro.
being that's the only thing
love
that
that
you can do is just go in there, like you knock her down and leave? Like, well, what if she falls in love with you? Like,
No,
what if
no,
you have
that's
a
the whole
strong
point.
dick
They-
game and
they
now you're
close
taking
that
an
off
Amish wife?
completely.
Hope you
get
sign
this-
some paperwork says you're not legally
Yeah,
responsible.
well, it's
for the
Amish
kid.
people. Who they're gonna look it up?
come on,
You know what? They might have contracts. That's just pen and paper.
Yeah.
I'm just
No.
saying, you know, Jebediah is not throwing it down like that. Like, you might be better than him.
Oh yeah. Well, they have to look at. They're gonna inspect your dick, and they're gonna make sure they want you. So
Are they gonna watch?
They're gonna like you are fine. Like someone mixed like me, they're gonna like nah. Like you're gonna give
I
it
don't
to
know.
her
I
too
have red
good.
hair. They might not want that. They might not
Nah.
want that like splurring around their incest gene pool.
I mean, it mixes it up a little bit. You know,
A little, but you
they're,
know,
they're
I'm
gonna
just saying. I don't know.
they're gonna make sure like you're not like a complete
Amish are
piece of
weird
shit.
because like I remember I was up in I might have been Oregon. Actually, now I think about it, and they had buses upon buses upon buses pulling up to this stop. And I was like, damn, that's a lot of buses. And I'm thinking it's just traveling through. And
Yeah.
everybody that got off was dressed the exact same.
Amish.
And I was like, what the fuck? It was the first time I ever saw Amish. So I called my wife. I was like, yo, they got Amish people up here on buses. This is the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Well, like any religion or any lifestyle, you know, there's different types of Amish people too. Like some Amish people do integrate themselves into normal society.
They call them Mennonites.
I don't fucking know, but I just
I
know
know
Is that a real
they're
thing?
like diet Amish.
But
Diet
most Amish are like Pennsylvania though.
Yeah.
That's like where the hub of
they're
Amish
like
people.
light Amish.
Speaking the Pennsylvania Dutch. No, Mennonites.
I don't know.
I know from the. I only barely know from like the. There's a great Simpsons joke about like the Amish come and build something. Like they build something for the Simpsons in the backyard, just a bit, and it's just like these Amish are great. Unlike those shiftless Mennonites, and they pan over, and there's just a bunch of, there's like a handful of Mennonites just slacking off, and they're like throwing dice, and one goes, roll them bones, And it's one of the funniest fucking lines. And you can't let it land in conversation too much unless somebody knows the quote. Like, roll them bones. Like, huh? But no, it's shiftless Mennonites. It's just compared to the Amish, they might as well be Presbyterians.
I don't know a whole lot about Amish. I just know, and the first time I saw them, I was like, holy shit! Like I didn't know you guys really existed. I thought you were like a fairy tale or like a myth, a legend.
Yeah, they're just so hidden and inbred they have to hide. You know, you don't want to see the kids that are all fucked up off on that. You know.
Yeah, well, they work all the time too. The only thing I know about the Amish is they make a electric heater that looks like a fireplace. That's the only thing I know about it.
It's just electric heater.
It's an electric heater that looks like a fireplace.
And they make those?
They make those by hand, and like they sell them on infomercials. I'm not even making that up. It's a real thing.
I'll Google that. What were you going to say?
I'm telling you.
I let Matt Randolph know that I was like currently on a podcast and that you know Nelson. So Wild Speaker is getting a lot of podcast play. This last week.
Shout out! I'll make sure I'll tag him.
Oh, I am.
A bunch.
Once ever this comes up,
because then Nelson's gonna be like, I don't know that guy.
Oh, cool.
I got pictures. I got videos, dude. He recorded me when we were like, he was 12, I was 13, and he comes to my mom's and my stepdad's house, and I have my camera that I got for my birthday or some shit like that. It's a shitty little VHS camera recorder. But
he's holding Marlboro on the side?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Ma. But we do an MTV Cribs of my house. Oh, nice. And I'm just like fucking put my hat sideways, just showing like I got running water. Like, because, this shit I never had as a kid. So it was nice. Thanks,
fair.
Dad.
This is a water heater.
Remaking the Red Man episode.
Yeah.
Because all the shit was like so fake. Set up and
it was
fake.
So fake, yeah.
But Redman apparently was like, all right, you come to my place. Yeah, in this apartment. And they walk in, and I think that was like the only time that Cribs was just like, not like set up, but they're kind of like, oh, they didn't get the memo that this is bullshit. And you had this apartment. It was an apartment.
That was one of my favorite episodes.
2-bedroom apartment. And he literally he's like, ask my cousin to sleep over there.
Yeah. And he was like, this is my doorbell.
Steve-O's episode 2. Remember he just like fucks his whole
I never
apartment?
Saw that. No.
He destroys his whole apartment in front of them, dude. Like jumps into his fan.
Sounds like a Steve-O thing to do.
Yeah. That's when he was all drugged out though. And before he was all now like, I'm good.
I used a Steve-O butt wipe for your butt today.
Did you really?
My girlfriend and our old roommate went and saw him. He was at the Arlington Theater, which is, Arlington Music Hall, which always got confused with Theater Arlington, which is like a theater for plays. Arlington Music Hall has like your country stars of yesteryear in the 90s and shit. I've been there like once. But it's like, right there in like downtown Arlington. That's where he played. That's what's so weird. Steve-O can go do like a weekend at the Improv if he wants, but he can do anywhere.
Was it during his tour he's been recently on?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And they brought me home because I've been doing the butt wipe thing for a while, or just wipes in general. And I do not flush these things as much as they say that they are biodegradable and flushable. They are not fucking flushable.
I wish Fred was here for this one because, we would have a long talk about that.
So just throw it in the trash. Throw it in the
No, he flushes. He flushes flushable wipes.
Well, any plumbing issues? Then and what's funny is my friend who has the wipes, and me and his girlfriend were like, getting onto him. It's like, dude, don't they say unflushable? But have you seen the horror stories that they're not, and they clog up? He literally has like the side of his house. It's literally like a 2-foot gap, but they had he had some tarp covering it. He rents his house, but he had plumbing issues. And I don't know if it was from the supposedly flushable wipes, but I'm pretty sure they were.
Well, they clog up. They get caught and they catch in. It's almost like getting your artery clogged up. Same difference. It's just a bunch of shit.
Oh, yeah. We also had bad plumbing in our house anyways. We have to use like the fucking single ply as it is. So definitely need those wipes, which go in the trash can.
If you're using single ply, then yeah, you definitely need wipes.
Oh yeah.
Are you talking about like what are they? The man wipes?
Yeah, just I also so they got me those from the show. I was at his merch table, and then the next one I'm going to do is the actual brand name Dude Wipes.
Dude wipes.
Sleek packaging. I like that packaging. It's like this black vinyl kind of look, and just the logo
it smells
pops.
like man. It doesn't smell like just baby wipes
Which I'm fine with those too. I got a pack of those as well.
It's good. It's a good cleanup. I do it because if I don't, I do see the difference. Like. You get shit streaks, man, if you don't baby wipe it up, bro. Gross. What? It's a fucking real thing, man.
This is reality,
when you get
man.
older, your anus does leak. I mean, unfortunately, it happens. Like, you get some anal leakage.
We're not talking about the theory of a limp biscuit, if it happened or not.
No,
this is shit that was happened today.
If I don't use a wet wipe, I'm leaving a shit streak in my underwear. Promise.
Maybe just have a bad wipe technique.
No, just because paper doesn't get it all, bro. You got it. And
then you're roughing up the anus, which has a lot of. I had one time when I was like, I don't know, 19. I did a wipe, and there was blood in there. I was like, oh, no, God. I'm like crying, calling my mom. She's like, calm down, idiot. Just go to the doctor. I had a anal
I
fissure.
love how your mom talks to you.
No, she was definitely like, she knew I was over blood because I've never wiped and there was blood. There wasn't blood in the stool. There was blood on the. She's like, calm down, go to the doctor. Make an appointment, go to the doctor. And the doctor was like, all right, what are you eating? And obviously, I maybe tried to lie a little bit. He's like, no, you need to eat more greens. He's like, I want you eating like greens. He was, the doctor verbatim said, I want you shitting green. And I was like, oh, okay. Because it's just, not eating the right, not having a good diet, and you overstress your asshole, which has a lot of blood vessels there, and that's why you have some hard poops. That's why you might have some blood, when you wipe.
Yeah, if I would have wiped this on blood, I would have freaked out too.
Hemorrhoids can burst. That's
what I thought he was getting to.
Well, I mean, it's one of the side effects too. Is like hemorrhoids overstressing the anus.
Yeah, and ever since I've been eating a lot better lately. I did have a hemorrhoid a couple of years ago. I was like, it didn't like hurt, just itched a little. And
Was
I went
yours
to the
like
doctor.
was yours still inside of you, or did yours hang out a little bit?
When I wiped, I could feel it, and then I got
So it
like
hung out a little bit.
And then I went to the
never had a
doctor. She's like, bend over, shined a flashlight. She's like, yeah, it's a hemorrhoid. And I was like, it didn't hurt. I didn't need to sit on like a special pad or anything. She's like, put this on there.
Oh, those little donuts that little donuts.
She's like, also, what's your diet like? And I'm like,
pillow?
it could be better. She's like, all right. And ever since I've just really concentrated on my diet, making that better, put more fiber, just fiber.
Just shitting out greens.
Fiber. I put fiber powder in my coffee, and just making sure you're pooping good and not pooping too much, too hard, because then that can overstress the anus.
My kids, man, sometimes it's amazing the size of the shits that come out of them. Like I legit like worried because it would be like a whole like fucking like almost like small football size coming out of these kids. And
Dear
I'm just like,
God.
I'm like, God,
How did that happen?
They're trying to set a
like,
world
are
record.
you okay, little man?
Yeah.
Like, is your ass okay? Because like this shit's like serious sometimes. I'm like worried. Like, how the fuck is this much food come out of you? But these kids, because they're so clean in the inside of their intestines and colons, man, when they eat a lot, it just comes right out, man. It's fucking nuts. It's gross.
It is pretty gross.
This has been gross.
Yeah, dude, boys are gross.
But it's real, man. It's sometimes you gotta get real. That's what doctors are for, man. Like I love
I've never
talking
had
to
any of those
doctors. Like at the
problems,
appointment, you got to shoot straight with them because that's their fucking livelihood. Is
My son right now. I've been on antibiotics for a few days now. That's why I'm here. But he had strep throat, and the bitch at the fucking clinic told him and scared him with meningitis. Like, because he had a little neck pain. They're like, yeah, we can't rule out meningitis. And then like fucking like fearfully put it into my wife and my son. So like they called me at work the other day like crying because of meningitis. He might have meningitis. He might need a spinal tap. Because that one of the because of one of the symptoms was neck pain.
I'm trying to think of how you would get meningitis.
Meningitis is like an infection in the spine, like the brain.
Yeah, I
like
know what
it'll
meningitis
kill you
is,
quick.
yeah, but
But typically,
spinal meningitis.
kids get
Yeah,
it, like
that's what I was
babies
thinking.
get it, like babies.
Spinal meningitis, yeah.
But
That
I'm
rolls
just like,
off the tongue too well.
because he has a strep throat and a little soreness in the neck. They're gonna tell her that she has fucking meningitis, possibly.
That's wild. What is that? What is that one you get from kissing people?
That's a
Mono.
Mono. I got mono one time.
Really?
Yeah, when I
That's
was
the one
really
like your
young.
neck can like lymph node can kind of like get big.
Yeah,
or
but it wasn't
maybe.
that bad. I just took steroids and something, and then it cleared it up. But the way I got it was funny because it wasn't from kissing anyone. I think I got it from like drinking out of somebody's bottle or something.
Well, water fountains, things
Water
like
fountains,
that.
shit like that, or something. It was something stupid.
Yeah, if
I
you're
don't even
sucking
remember.
on the fountain, Jesus.
Well, how else you get those stuff out?
How did she get fast, bro?
It's all I've known.
That's how
Since
It's like a
how-
Parks
since
and Rec,
childhood.
Citizens of Pawnee, just whole mouth it.
That's all I know. Liquid comes out of stuff when you suck on it.
Yeah.
The thing is like, and I got it, and my mom was like, "How the fuck did you get this?" And I was like, "Oh,
Who you kissing, boy?
yeah,
Who's the whore?
yeah."
It ain't that Jenny girl that everyone talks about.
I don't know how my mom ended up redneck, but all right.
Jenny from the block.
That's cool.
I just assume with the
The skin color.
information,
Yeah.
the hand tats and the hotel livings.
Well, no, that's called poverty, son. I don't know about.
Okay, that
I
can
wouldn't
affect
say that was country.
everyone.
It's just poverty in general.
You were poor. I was filth.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
like we were poor when my mom cleaned the house. Like,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
at least
yeah.
did that much. She
Yeah.
at least swept
For
everything.
how many meth heads I live with, never clean.
Let me correct that. I cleaned the house, so that's pretty cool.
I have to learn about this because we were my dad and associates, my mom high school diploma, but my granddad, her dad, who my dad worked for, definitely well off. And he had a condo we could go to. We're middle class, but they worked their asses off. But it's not like they had a full on career.
They just have to work until the inheritance kicks in, right?
Sort of. Both my grandparents had passed, and there's just a whole bunch of family bullshit. Who knows?
course.
Who knows where the money's gone, and if
Of
it'll even
course.
trickle down to me? I don't know. But
Do I need to kill somebody for you? We can make it fast. Expedite the issue.
but I
There
had
goes Shawn.
I love we had a neighborhood
The
growing up.
hitman
People
wonder.
played on the streets, rode my bike around, met up with friends that way. Outside a lot as a kid. Feel bad for these kids these days. But we also have video games, but we do how to balance it because our parents would be like, "Go outside." We're just like, oh, "Okay, yeah, I can go outside."
That's how you knew what
Once
your
the
friends were.
circles
You
hit,
looked
they're
for
like, you need to get the
bikes.
fuck
Yeah.
outside.
You
we
look
bought
for
you a
the bikes.
trampoline for a reason, idiot. Or we have this.
Or at least that's how I found my friends, because if their bikes were outside of a particular house,
Yeah,
I was
just
like,
bikes
okay,
on
yeah,
the ground.
there
You're
they
like,
are.
there they are.
Well,
Yeah.
it's sad when you would
You have
drive
to hunt
by
them
and
down.
no one even told you that they were going all there. So like you're the kid that didn't get invited, because you didn't have a landline.
It's like, you guys know what that's like, right? You guys know what it's like to be
Nobody else gets the
unpopular,
outcast,
right?
yeah. Well,
Everybody?
because he's the poorest kid, so they're like, oh, we got to feed him. We got to fucking.
He's gonna raid our fridge. We're gonna have to show him how to use running
Bro,
water.
talk to
Like,
Nelson, man. I'm telling you, dude. His mom would like fucking feed me.
Oh,
me, bro.
dude, my buddy Philip, his mom's Mexican, and anytime I was there, just ate. Fuck, that's one thing I love about growing up in Texas. You have like
That's just being in a Mexican house.
friends. You're there. It's like we're going to fucking feed you, and you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, all right. And
yeah, that's just that's a little different than
I go to
think
his,
what Sean's
his
talking
grandma's place for it's like, yeah, we go to, or you want to go to Louisville? It's like, his dad's or mom's birthday or someone's like, yeah, go there. Fucking amazing food and just, it's great.
about. Yeah, we have this lady named Maggie.
Like King of the Hill is so goddamn true.
She watched us she was like our babysitter or whatever, but we called her Grandma Maggie, and still to this day, even though as old as she is, we still call her grandma, right? And she's Mexican. And back in the day, bro, we pull up to her house. It was like, "You hungry?" And you already know what that means.
Well, see, like
bro,
for like Nelson's family, they didn't.
they're about to throw it down.
Nobody stayed the night at the house. Like he never got to have friends stay the night. I was the only friend that could stay the night. Like I was like such a bad kid, but his dad loved me. Like, he thought it was funny, and shit like that. And then as a growing up too, like when I was in the army and shit, I'd always come over and just see them because they're down from my mom's house. And fucking every time I came, it was a different car. So he was always thinking I was like so super wealthy at the time.
I just have to acquire a different car.
Financially burdened because I had to get that one repoed to get another one. Come on now, the real reasons. But no, they were so great. But I would overeat my welcome. That was what I was more or less as a kid. Like I'd go to people's houses and they'd be like, "Look, you can't keep coming over, Mom. My mom started feeding you. Like, go get food."
You're like a stray cat, dude. Just,
He's like, "Go get a job."
Like no, like it was just like, go get your parents. Where are they? I'm like, who? What?
You ever heard my story?
You don't know my
Sure.
story, bro?
I'll go home and open up a can of SpaghettiOs. Sure.
What are you talking about? It was like tortilla.
Or we
and,
could have
like,
something
peanut
with
butter.
tortillas.
Yeah.
Anything with tortillas. It's amazing. Ugh.
Yeah.
Give
Or
me food.
menudo. That was
By the
another
way,
one.
Nelson, I'm going to your parents' house later. I'll see you.
I
There.
might text you.
Nah. Hit him on Facebook later. Oh my God,
Yeah,
you guys
no,
got me
it's-
going about
it's
the
kinda-
past.
Yeah, well, that's what we do.
I just need to see my boy Nelson now.
Just drag out the past, but we're gonna wrap this up.
Oh, okay.
'Cause we got stuff going on. Anybody got any shout outs, any dates that you're doing?
I'm
anything
doing a
going
show
on?
in a couple hours in a Grapevine. It's a swanky fucking place called Harvest Hall. It used to be an old train station. Now that's been remodeled into a hotel and also like a kick-ass food court. And they have a performance space for bands. And then this guy, Zach Holland, does a monthly show there. Took a couple months off. It's back. The place is called Harvest Hall. The venue is called Third Rail. Get it? Railroad, Third Rail, all that. And then Third Rail in the media sense. I don't know. Like touching the third rail, it's like you talk about things you're not supposed to talk about. Or whatever. I guess it works.
It's a play on words.
But it's a fun show. It's monthly, and it pays. Also, good drink tickets. Also, you get a gift card for the food court. So, like, I'm having dinner there.
So it's,
Like,
it's
I'm
worth
looking
going.
forward to this.
Yeah, I see.
And it's like, what other show are you going to do on a Sunday that's not at a club that pays? And it's,
yeah,
in a
that's fair.
sweet
That's fair.
place.
There's nowhere on Sunday that pays right now besides that.
Unless you're like on a weekend show that had to add on a Sunday show.
Yeah,
Or
that's true.
shows.
If you sold out the other ones, you want to keep going.
What about you, Shawn?
April 1st, coming up next weekend.
Yep.
The big old 69 different comics going on like different stages. I finally found out
It's
where I'm
okay
at.
if you call that a comedy fest.
Yeah,
Instead
comedy
of just, That's a
festival.
show. It's not fun.
Well, it's like I'm on block 2 of stage 1, which is going to be at Cheapskates.
Cheapsteaks. No, I
Cheapsteaks?
went there a couple months ago. Natalie of Wild Speaker was there. It's band City of Caterpillar. They put out an album 20 years after their first album. And I didn't know until that show popped up. And I was like, City of Caterpillar. They play like fast, screamo, hardcore. Totally my type of shit. And I was like, oh, well, I'm buying tickets to that. I went with my buddy Nick, and he literally, first band played, and then the second band, this band out of Austin called Portrayal of Guilt. They're sludgy, noisy kind of shit. They like got into 1 or 2 songs. Thankfully, I drove because Nick was like, man, my stomach's not sitting, something's not sitting right. And I was like, I gotta take a shit, man. And I went and like took a shit or something. And I didn't realize it was worse than that. He was just not feeling good. It wasn't like, I got to blast out of shit. I'll be fine. No. He was like, yeah, I think I'm going to bail. I was like, are you going to go? The bathroom there was okay. And also finding a public bathroom in Deep Ellum's, hard as it is. I was like, are you going to go somewhere else, try to find a nicer place to shit? Like, Fuzzy's across the street. You can probably go there. He's like, no, I'm calling an Uber. I'm going home. I'm like, oh.
What did he have, like pancreatitis or something?
No, he just, I think it was something he ate like
bug.
earlier that day or the day before, wasn't sitting right. And luckily he paid for parking. So I drove, he paid for parking, and then he had an Uber home. I was like, oh shit. But a buddy of his that's in a baseball fantasy league and like a coworker of his was there. And he was I'm like, first of all, you like this kind of music. We can talk about that at the show, which is what you mostly do at a show.
Yeah.
Plus, I can talk to you about baseball. Oh. Lucky me.
Oh, you like baseball?
Oh, fucking like Rangers.
That's
I love baseball. But then Natalie was also there because that's her type of music as well. It was also like 45 degrees outside, and it's an outside stage.
That's what I'm concerned about on the 1st. Hopefully it's warm.
Weather, yeah,
hope
you
it's
have to be
warm
worried
for it,
about
too.
rain.
I've done a
1st,
cult show outside, and it's
Are
fucking...
you still doing the show April 8th?
April 8th got canceled. Mark Plata's Sleeping Panther show because the weather, that storm that hit, broke some glass, so it's getting pushed back further.
What a shame, because I was going to go because that's my birthday. So
No, nice. Yeah.
Well,
Fuck your birthday.
Yeah, fuck your show.
Well, yeah.
That's why your show got canceled. My birthday's still
I
on,
called
bitch.
Mark that day, and I was like, hey, man, you didn't do this because of me, did you? You didn't cancel the show just because of me, right?
I can be better.
I can try. Well, fuck you guys. I got more shows coming up sooner than later. I don't know when. But Cheapsteaks is the newest one coming up. I think after that, until July, I'm slowing down a little bit because the baby coming.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited for you.
I'm also at Turning Point Brewing on Saturday, April 8th.
Oh, there you go. There you go. There's your birthday
Joshua
show.
Provo.
Oh, that actually would be a
the
fun
king
one.
of DFW brewery shows. He runs like 3 different shows at 3 different breweries. I did Saturday. I did False Idol Brewing in North Richland Hills.
With Mark Plata?
With Mark
Yeah,
Plata.
Mark was there. Also, Mark was on this last show. Odd Muse Brewing, which Josh also books and hosts. That's in Farmers Branch, right? Like it's like down the street's Addison, so it's Addison Farmers Branch right there. And he also does Turning Point, which I believe is in Dallas.
Yeah, I think Mark, him and Josh are friends. or
Okay,
some
they
shit,
kind of.
yeah.
And when Josh, he's from Baton Rouge, I believe. When he, like a week into him moving DFW, I used to run shows at Main at Southside, aka Mass.
Yeah.
The shows are called Laugh Your Mass Off. Shout out to Alex Gaskin for my buddy making up the best name for a comedy show ever. I was like, I need a show for this place, Main at Southside. It's also known as Mass. And then we went back and forth. He said, Laugh Your Mass Off. I'm like, I owe you a drink.
Yeah.
Anytime he lives in LA, his wife Jasmine Ellis, who is a phenomenal comic, and I think she deserves a talk show. She's out there fucking destroying it. Jasmine Ellis is fucking hilarious. That they got married. Anyway, so anytime he's in town, I'm like, first drink's on me because Laughter Mass Off is that good of a name. Anyways,
Yeah.
Josh moved to DFW from Louisiana in like about a week, and then I put him on a show at Mass. Funny guy, and then I really haven't. And then at some point, COVID happened. And then I hit him up, and he was like, I was like, hey, man, you got any spots on these brewery shows? He's like, yeah, man. He goes, dude, yeah, man, you put me up a show at Mass right after I moved here. I was like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I did do that.
Yeah, you owe me, bitch.
I totally did that. And then I was like, oh, no, I remember. Yeah. And then, so I was like, yeah, Kindred Spirit, because he's also producing shows. I don't produce shows anymore, but, man, I fucking know how hard that shit can be. And if you got breweries that are behind you, that's also good if the place is behind what you're doing.
Yeah, right.
That always helps.
It helps
so
support. A lot of
much.
these breweries are doing more comedy.
Yeah.
Fucking.
It's a weird marriage these days, but hey, that's
I
that's
get
where
out
it's
of
at.
I get out of your hair, Chris.
You said what?
I'll get out of your hair. Love you.
Just waiting on you guys to finish.
Sorry.
It's been the longest outro
Sorry.
I've ever had on this show. I'm just sitting here like, all right, eventually one day they'll stop.
Follow me on Shawn Santos on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Thank you.
Check out
get a chance to do it. Yes.
Oh shit.
Check out the Breckinridge podcast. I finally got my ass off. I did some shit in 2021, did nothing with it last year, and now I'm just like, I bought this equipment. I need to go do interviews.
Yeah.
So episodes coming out. I put out one today. I got 3 more in the can. I'm gonna put them out. I'm gonna record another one tonight, most likely. And yeah, the Breckinridge at Twitter, Instagram, Brian Breckinridge.
Cool.
That's
Are you
the
on
name.
TikTok?
Yeah, same thing. Breckinridge. I've
Okay,
got
cool.
minimal clips up there, but
Follow it until it gets canceled.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of here, guys.
Thank you.
Peace. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down on the bottom below. Also, if you're new, make sure you hit the notification bell so you're notified anytime new videos upload.
And also, don't forget to hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. And for exclusive content, we also have a website, which will be in the description below.
Yep.
All right.
All right, we're out of here.
Peace.